Welcome everyone to Sim TV. I'm Kyle Heyer here with Finian DeCuna, and tonight we go racing at the high banks of Daytona with the Virtual Racing League with their first round of their new season. And tonight there's some money on the line here, Finian. It's a dash for cash race. So as we get ready to go for 80 laps, there's going to be $30 on the line for any driver that can claim it. And one of those 5 drivers is going to be listed right here.
Yeah, so the guys who are going to be competing for it is Mark Emerson, A.G. Stravato, Alec Daffin, Ben Bafford, and Andrew Schmier. They're the only 5 drivers eligible for those $30. But the caveat to that is the race has to end under green flag conditions, otherwise no one gets any money.
Yeah, so we got to have a nice clean finish here tonight, but there is a large group of cars, 38 the last time I checked here, Finian. So there is a big grid about to be on here tonight, so got to keep your nose clean. But we always talk about Daytona, but tonight we're at the old bumpy version here, Finian, and it's very, very rough out there.
Yeah, and part of the reason we're at the old version of Daytona is because with this particular cup package that we've been racing with on iRacing and in real life, the bumpiness of Daytona manages to get the pack a lot closer together, and so you're able to make a lot more moves, and it's a little bit less single file racing than what we've typically seen at tracks like Daytona and Talladega. So a nice call. And last time we were here at Daytona on this old version of Daytona with VRL, put on a fantastic show, so I expect nothing less tonight.
Yeah, with a minute and about 50 seconds left in qualifying, Andrew Schmier at the top of the board, that number 38 car, Jim George second, Gabriel Perry in the number 10 sitting in 4th place right now, and Perry of course drives in the Fuel Cup Series, so we're familiar with him around here. So let's get ready to go racing here tonight. Again, 80 laps at fuel window, around 30 to 35 laps, give or take a couple. Got to keep your tires out of those marbles you see building up on the outside lane there, Finian, because you wouldn't think it would matter, but when you're going 195 miles an hour right on the edge of grip, it's not going to help when you got rubber particles all on your tires.
Yeah, and that's another thing too is the wall. Speaking about the wall as well, typically when guys are running, you'll see this out of 2 as well. If you're running too close to the wall, the bumps will almost throw you back into the wall. So that's another thing you got to watch out for. So you want to keep a little bit of a distance to the wall, otherwise you could end up rubbering and it can really damage your car.
Josiah Vincent jumps to the top of the board. Evan Black, carryover from PTR TV. Is going to be jumping in here tonight, the number 92 car. He's already put himself in 2nd. Andrew Schmier falls to 3rd. Alec Daffin, who we're looking at right now, the number 20, he is qualified P6 on the board. 16 cars have taken times. Not that many else are out there, Finian. It's a big grid, so it's going to be organized by iRating after that, and we'll set up the field. And again, 38 cars entered in this race here this evening in an 80-lap race. So it's going to be a battle to the end, and I'm excited to see this. A new season here for Virtual Racing League, and now there is a chase at the end of the season, unlike last season. However, it's not winning you're in. It's all points racing to the end of the season.
Yeah, and I really like that. It really promotes having consistency over just straight raw pace. So you need to have that throughout the regular season before the playoffs start. And also notably, there are some cash prizes to the end. I believe it's $75 to the championship for the championship winner. Then for 2nd place, I believe it's $45, and then for 3rd place will be $30. Yeah. So big cash prizes for these guys towards the end of the season, and a lot to race for.
Yes, there is definitely a lot to race for. But when we talk about a place like Daytona, usually we throw it in here as a wild card. But the bumpy surface kind of brings more of a skill element to it here tonight. It's not just straight up drafting here, Finian. Yes, draft is going to matter, but it's also placing your car on the racetrack. You have to know where the bumps are. You have to plan out your attacks here, because the bumps are going to throw your car all over the place. And if you just drive this like you would the new version of Daytona, you're not going to win this race.
Yeah, definitely. So you gotta have a little bit more caution to your driving. So obviously everyone get bunched up on the grid here, on this massive grid here on pit road. And another thing too that might come into play is a little bit of pit strategy here. The race is 100 laps.
100 laps. That was my mistake. Yep. Sorry about that.
Yeah, it's 100 laps, and the fuel window is looking to be about 30 to 34 laps, and that's because these guys run 80% fuel. So it could be a 2-stop or a 3-stop, depending on how you save fuel. And you're probably wondering, how do you save fuel on a track like this? Well, the key is really staying in the draft. If you're the car in the front, you have your foot through the floor the entire time. But if you're behind, you might have to you typically end up lifting off the gas. You're using less fuel through that, so that might be another factor in today as well.
I had 80 laps in my head because that's what we ran last year. We were just at Daytona with this league about 5 or 6 weeks ago. So
yeah, and we were at Daytona yesterday.
Yeah, and we did Daytona last night. I also thought that was an 80-lap race, and that was 100. So clearly the 100-lap is a popular choice here at Daytona. and we're waiting for the field to get gridded up and ready to go racing. So 100 laps. So you mentioned it, Finney, a little bit of fuel strategy here. But the banks of Daytona, they're a little bit rough. And the controversy of last night's Hardline Midwest Power Source Cup Series race might carry over here tonight. That yellow line, Finian, it's out of bounds.
Yeah, definitely so. I feel like we probably won't see that as much here, but considering how bumpy the surface is, it's really hard to try to pull a move like that. Very risky, so I don't think we should see any controversy like that. However, there could be a lot more controversy as to who's caused wrecks and things of that nature, because with a big field like this, a lot of things can go wrong.
Yeah, so to fill everybody into what happened last night at the hardline race, the last lap, and on the back straightaway, there was a driver that got forced down below the yellow line. His teammate followed him through down below the yellow line, and that kind of mixed up the order and made it very hard for race control. So again, at restrictor plate races, you always have to take a look at that as being a potential factor towards the end. Keeping your car above the yellow line, keeping your car below the safer barrier, and keeping your car in contention. Let's take a look at our starting lineup. Josiah Vincent in the number 4, starting on pole with the 92 of Evan Black starting in second. Both those guys in Chevy Camaros.
I don't think we'll have enough time to get through the whole field, but we'll try. In third place, we got Andrew Smear in the 38. One of those guys eligible for the Dash for Cash in fourth. Justin Egan in the 71.
All right, moving on to row 3, Jim George in the number 12 and the 96 of John Rodden. And Rodden is in a Ford Fusion.
Moving back to 7th, we have Alec Daffin in the 20, a big notable in VRL. So is Jordan Ashland, last season's champion in the 27, in 8th place.
All right, moving off to 9th and 10th, Elliott Butler and Gabriel Perry. Both those, Butler is in a Camaro and Perry is in a Toyota Camry.
Moving on back to 11th, we have Reggie Ortega in the 2, and in 12th on the outside, we have Steve Turner in the 26 Camaro.
On back to 13th and 14th, Ryan Shelton in the number 51 and Corey Boudinot there in the number 34. Shelton in a Camry and Boudinot in a Camaro back there in 13th and 14th. Well, this is rolling. Let's take a look at our race information here today, Finian. The air temp 73.90 on the track. A little bit hot and slick out there. Partly cloudy conditions. Not much of a breeze, so not going to have a tailwind heading down the back straightaway or anything. So those are your conditions here tonight. 100 laps on the board for Virtual Racing League's first race of their new season. And at number 4, Josiah Vincent starting out front. He's going to be a threat to deal with here tonight. But the pace car is going to roll off of the track here in just a moment. And we got 38 cars about to take the green flag as Josiah Vincent, he's got a clear track in front of him. Green flag in the air here at Daytona.
It's a pretty even start by the front 2 cars. You see everyone now come to take the green flag. Huge field here at Daytona.
The 71 of Justin Egan is in that M&M's Camry there on the outside lane, giving a huge push to Evan Black in the number 92 car. Already very aggressive on that outside line.
And it could really work on the outside line. Typically, the inside line will start to stall, and that's where the outside will start to come into its own. But Evan Black currently losing side-by-side with Schmier at the moment.
Look at the size of that field off of turn 2, rocketing down the Daytona super stretch, nose to tail. 2 lines, and you can see one car there down in the inside just giving up a couple spots. That's legal. You can give up spots. You cannot gain an advantage down there, though, and that is what will get you a penalty. Josiah Vincent jumps out in front. Schmier in second. Remember, Schmier was very fast last time we were here at Daytona.
Yeah, very fast indeed. And as they come out of the corner, it looks like Josiah Vincent in the 4 is going to lead lap 1 of this new season.
And 2 by 2 they run, but those front 2 cars have gotten themselves singled out. And that's the 12 of Jim George running in 3rd right now. He's trying to just outrun Evan Black on the outside lane. And there's Alec Daffin, started 6th, still running 6th, trying to get to that inside.
Yeah, and it looks like that outside line is just a little bit disjointed at the moment. That's why they're really struggling to kind of get a run going. But within a few laps, I expect them to start kind of being side-by-side with the leaders up front. And you see actually someone come up there. There's Elliott Butler. He just jumped to the outside line.
Yeah, Butler in that number 36 car was involved in a wreck the last time we came here. The 71 of Justin Egan looking really aggressive. And Black jumping out of this here. He's up on the top of 3 wide here, Finney. And this is risky in lap 2. Looks like he scraped the wall there for a second in turn 3.
Yeah, so does the car behind him. I'm not sure who that is. Trying to get a view of that in the Valvoline car. But it looks like he's trying to actually fall to the back, it seems.
That's the 96 of John Rodden there, Finney.
Yeah, so it looks like Black's trying to go towards the back of the field, or at least pull out of this, because it looks like he doesn't want to have to say anymore in this. But yeah, pull up to the high side, and again, like we were talking about, very risky, because those bumps almost throw you into the wall, so he's going to actually slide in on the inside. He's going to secure 10th place.
Yeah, there's a lot of tracks, Finney, that when they wear out, that inside lane it gets bumpy, but the outside smooth. Daytona's bumpy everywhere, from the bottom to the top, and like you said, you get in those bumps up against that wall, it's very unforgiving. You'll smack the wall hard. Luckily, the 92 got away with it. Look at Jim George in the number 12 looking to the outside. He's being very aggressive early. and jumping to the outside of Schmier in that number 38 car.
And you're going to see that a lot of the field has pretty much got single filed out pretty quickly, so everything's very calm at the moment on lap 4.
Yeah, really the biggest battle right now is for the lead. Look at the 12 of Jim George getting a push from Justin Egan, and around the outside he goes. Can he clear Josiah Vincent on the back straightaway? He's going to have a heck of a run if the 71 can give him a push.
Yeah, and look, there you go. There's the run out of the corner. Huge run, and the 12 is actually clear now of the 4. Will he try to go to the inside and leave the 71 out to dry? And no, it looks like he's going to stay with them.
He's going to stay with them, and I think they're going to be friends later, I think. This is one of those things, Finny, you start leaving people out to dry, they're not going to help you later in the race. So getting the list of friends to work with is a good idea here early. So Jim George picking up Justin Egan. Let's take a quick look, just scan through the field, see what else is going on here. The second half of the field really kind of sorted out. There's another whole line of cars. That's the 27th place Alec Martinez there in the 18 M&M's Camry. But let's head back up front, keep an eye on the lead, because they're side by side in turns 1 and 2.
Yeah, currently only 3 cars on the top lane. No one else wants to join with them at the moment. You can see nearly everyone else single file.
They're starting to tick off laps here, Finney, and you don't need to do anything early. The only lap that matters is the last one, so the rest of this is a 200-mile-an-hour chess match. And you see the 12 and the 71 playing that to a T, but here comes Reggie Ortega in the number 2. Look at his aggression early. Oh, man, that was close.
Yeah, part of me feel like he didn't mean to do that again with the bumps. He might have just thrown his nose in there. Good job backing off and saving it for later, and he didn't end up causing a wreck. So
and good heads up for Justin Egan not to come down and cause a wreck there too. So good heads up driving in a sketchy situation here on lap number 5. And as we continue on to lap number 6, that 12 car has not really gotten out in front of the 4 enough to bring the 71 with them to clear Josiah Vincent.
Yeah, and I think they really just need a 4th car, or at least a 4th car in that outside lane to really get something to work. It looks like Ortega's just not able to stay up with them and give them enough of a momentum on that outside lane to work with.
Couple changes of position in the midfield here, but the 4, the 38, the 71, and the 12 have continued to run side by side for the first couple laps of this race. Through turns 3 and 4 now, and Reggie Ortega's trying to make that outside lane go somewhere, but Elliott Butler thought about jumping up, but tucks back inside.
Yeah, these guys, again, they're able to keep their momentum on that outside, which is good, but they're not really making any headway. They're kind of just surviving up there. And again, lap 7 to a 100-lap race, you have a long way to go from here. So it's pretty much just a matter of patience, really, and it's nice to see that everyone on the track is having a lot of patience with each other. No one, I don't think anyone's retired at the moment.
Nope, everyone's still out there running on the racetrack, except AJ Stravato and Chris Gutierrez actually have a pit stop listed for them, and Stravato is 26 seconds back, so about a half lap back for Stravato and Gutierrez. So not a great start for them as we continue on lap number 7.
Actually, notably, look at Schmier and the 4 of Vincent. They both got disjointed from the inside line. Here comes the outside line with a charge. There goes the 12 to the inside. He's going to take the lead.
71 wanted to get down, but didn't have the space to do it, so he's going to have to stick to that outside lane. So Jim George to the point on lap number 8. And he's got Vincent tucked up behind. But look at Reggie Ortega, that number 2 Exalta car. He wants to go somewhere, and he's going to take the 71 of Egan with him. And just behind them here, we see the 96 of John Rodden in that Valvoline Ford Fusion, the father of Justin Rodden, that is, or did I say that right? Justin
is
Rodden.
It?
Yes, that is correct. Justin Rodden over in the Fuel Series. So I knew it was a J. But cool to see him racing here tonight. He's got the 26 of Steve Turner in that Lowe's for Pros Camaro tucked up behind him.
And didn't Steve Turner actually start up towards the front, I believe?
Let's take a look here. Steve Turner started in 12th, so
okay.
he's...
My memory is really bad.
But we got a lot of action up front here, Finney. It looks like the single file is done here, at least in the front group, and we're side by side for 1st through 4th. And then Gabriel Perry in the number 10. He's riding on the inside here in that number 10 car.
And notably, too, Rodden and Turner behind are slowly catching the 2 of Ortega and the 71 of Egan up front. So they're going to have 4-car push. There you see them with a huge amount of momentum. Caution's out.
We got one, and it's the 17. Wow, a couple of cars piled up on the back straightaway here. The worst of it looks to be the 17 of Ben Izinga there. And that car is pretty torn up. Yeah, I'm thinking he's just going to pull that off the racetrack. Let's go take a look and see what happened. And I wonder if it started up in front. This is really the tail group here. Oh, it's the 3 car that got turned.
That's Andrew Telganoff. Yeah.
Telganoff. Wow, he got adored hard in that. And the 41 car also out of control there. A couple of others escaping to the grass. I see who that 41 is.
David Mott Jr.
Oh, David Mott Jr., that's right. Okay, let's take a look from maybe the onboard of Andrew Telgenov here to see how this originally started. And let's go back just a little bit here. Let's take another look. So this is riding on board with Andrew Telgenov. I think he gets hit from behind. That's the 8 of Jeremiah Vincent. And he gets a little checked up off the rear of the 88 and just gets hooked around there, Finian. And that's where he gets hit by several others. The 17 just gets the brunt of it.
Yeah, and there's nowhere for really anyone to go. That happened very quickly. Actually, let's ride with the 17 to see what happened.
And again, this is the trailing group of race cars here. Everyone's just kind of biding their time. Just a slight checkup and a miscommunication.
And you can see that you can't see anything from the 17-2 until a car just appears.
A violent impact. Yeah. And just, again, nothing you can do. It's a little bit of smoke. You have about 2 seconds to make a decision. And if you don't make that decision, the right decision in that time, you're going to be in the wall.
Yeah, so unfortunate end for the 7's day, and I gotta imagine also the 3 of Andrew Telgenov that he got a heavy hit to his car, but right now we got pit stops happening underway.
All right, the field's gonna come down, and well, that's a big field of race cars there, Finney.
I would say your computer is struggling.
I have a 1070 Ti, and we're struggling to show the field here tonight, so it gives you an idea of how many cars are here this evening. The whole field on pit lane now, and we're gonna see who rolls off first. And
Ford, trying to see who that is.
Field rolls off. We'll let it collect itself here.
The pole from Jim George, it might be.
David Mott Jr. was the first one off pit lane, but he has damage from that wreck there, Finian, and he didn't stop, so I think he either missed his stall or just rolled on through. Alec Daffin in the 20 is the first guy off pit lane. A little bit of splitter damage to the nose of that number 20 there on the bottom edge there, Finian.
Yeah, wondering if he might have picked up some damage at some point. Could be possible. And there you see the 12 of Jim George behind him.
All right, so Jim George in that number 12 will be third now after leading a couple laps in. Gabriel Perry up to 10, excuse me, I was about to say 10th because the 10 on the side of his car. Up to 4th place. Evan Black to 5th. Shelton to 6th. Egan 7th. Vincent. That's Josiah Vincent, 8th, who was your pole sitter. Reggie Ortega, 9th, and Angelo Ronis in 10th place in that number 31 car, that Peak Antifreeze Camaro. That's a nice looking livery right there.
Yeah, that's a really nice looking car. Great paint scheme there.
All right, well, heartbreak for a couple of drivers. Andrew Telgenov, Eddie Trejo looks like he might have... Actually, he doesn't have any damage. Looks like he's just down for the count here. But Telgenov, Izenga, and William Troy off the racetrack here. So 35 cars still running. On 35 cars on the lead lap and still eligible to win this race. Well, we just got the 1 to green here from the pace car, and the lights are out. So it looks like Daffin in that number 20 is going to choose the inside. And, of course, we saw the 41 car jump down pit lane and get his service. So that'll move Jim George up to 2nd. Evan Black will take 4th place next to Gabriel Perry in that number 10.
And just to give an idea, again, the 41 of Mott Jr. looks like he came out in about 31st place, so he went from 1st to 31st and just by pitting under caution, so that just kind of gives you an idea of how many people are running here.
There's still lots of shuffling in the running order right now. But taking a quick look at it, there's a couple of the positions are out of order because some guys have pitted on this last lap here, but it'll update at the line. Down the back straightaway now, Alec Daffin. Again, Alec Daffin was one of the guys that was kind of a dark horse the last time we were here at Daytona for VRL. Was up front running 3rd or 4th and was collected in an incident coming to the white flag, actually. So I would put my money on Daffin. I know he's got a little bit of damage, but that shouldn't hurt him too much. These cars are pretty sealed off to the ground, and in the draft, I don't think that little dent is going to mean very much.
Yeah, I would say it's 2 of the splitters, so it shouldn't be too vital to his performance. Usually to the hood is where it's going to affect the car more in the draft, so he should be fine. I don't doubt that'll cost him anything, but he's going to come and lead this gigantic field back to the green, and we're going to get ready to go for another hopefully good stint because we had a nice amount of laps there.
Yeah, so we had about a 9 or 10 lap run already, and we're going to restart with about 12% of this race completed as pace car is going to pull off, and they'll turn the field over to Alec Daffin, number 20 Camaro. Green flag back in the air here at Daytona.
On the 12, Jim George did not get a good start at all. They're all stacked up on that outside line. Here comes Perry. He's going to actually end up clearing. And whoa, 71 almost closed him down. I think on that's the 51.
Yeah, that's Ryan Shelton there in the Amazon 51 Toyota Camry.
That could have been very dangerous there, but he kept it off.
Rolling through turns 1 and 2, now onto the back straightaway. Field all together here, and we had that good run, so I think a lot of drivers have kind of taken note of who they're racing around and try to decide who they want to work with at this point. You see Andrew Schmier in the number 38. He's tucked in behind John Rodden, number 96 Ford Fusion. And, of course, there's Elliott Butler there riding in P11 right now on the outside. And the field kind of disjointed right now. Doesn't look like there's a lot of rhyme or reason to the lines, to the lanes. And that's something you'll notice here, this version of Daytona here, Finian. They don't really get organized into distinct lanes. A lot of it's kind of muddy around the midfield. You can kind of run 3 wide and not really be 3 wide at the same time. There's all sorts of different... The draft, when your cars are bouncing around so much, the draft's kind of just everywhere.
Yeah, and it's kind of typically what we see in the older draft package here when the Cup Series ran here. Is the draft was pretty much all over the place. It was just one colossal pack of just drafting. But yeah, there you see the 71 giving a little bit of a push to the 12, like we saw them do earlier. And Perry's now on the back bumper of Daffin in that 20.
Yeah, that 12 car looking real strong right now, Finian, taking the lead away. But can he clear the 20 of Alec Daffin and get to the inside? And it looks like we definitely have another clear breakaway here up front. That second pack beginning to kind of form back here just to kind of get themselves out of trouble. The 42 of Connor Horn, the DC Solar Chevrolet Camaro. He's tucked back here. Ben Bafford in the 60. Isn't Bafford one of the Dash for Cash drivers as well? I believe he is. So Bafford's got a lot of work to do if he wants to get himself up there in contention for the $30 here tonight.
Yeah, currently the winner of that, if things stand, you see the 12 and the 71 come down in front of Daffin. It looks like they're going to take control of this race.
And take control they will, so Daffin will give up that and slide back to 4th because the 31 of Angelo Ronis is on the outside. But you see how rough it is on this racetrack here, Finian.
Yeah, and it's no exaggeration at all. That's exactly the bumps that these guys are feeling. You can see even on the straightaways, too, how bumpy the surface is, and that's again what leads to this more traditional style of pack racing that we're seeing tonight. But yeah, what I was going to say about Daffin is that he's currently in position to win the Dash for Cash here.
Yep, so a lot of laps left to go, but he's putting himself in position early and keeping himself out of trouble. Look at Steve Turner in the 26 Lowe's for Pros car. Came from 12th to 4th already. He's got nice red rims on that, easy to spot in the outside lane behind the 31 of Ronis.
Yeah, here comes Ronis to the top side, being pushed by, or given a shove by the 26 of Steve Turner.
Right, the gyro cam with Ryan Shelton here, and you can see how rough this is. Even through the trial here, all the movement in the camera, that's all the transitions and the banking. You can see how rough it is here. But let's get down to turn 1. You'll really feel the difference in elevation from the smooth parts to the rough parts.
There they go into the turn. You can already see how violent the bumps are. And this is really why you can't really kind of break away from the draft at all. It's so hard to push anyone that you just cannot do it. You just kind of have to stay in the draft. And there's the 31 getting, actually, Ferrona's getting left out to dry. And here comes the 26 of Steve Turner being pushed by Elliott Butler in the 36.
And that's the 22 of Mark Emerson. He's going to go up the middle. The 31 in the wall bounces off, and that's what we talked about, Finian. You get yourself up against that wall, and you're going to definitely hit it with how bumpy it is in 3 and 4. So the 31's going to lose a couple spots and come out of that with a little bit of right side damage, but Andrew Schmier is going to pick him up in that number 38 car. And we continue to race it out, lap 18 of 100 here at Daytona. Yeah. See the 92 of Evan Black hit the apron there just tad.
Yeah, and again, Evan Black, one of those drivers who almost got into the wall. He fell back a little bit after the initial start. He's still riding around in the top 10, hasn't really fallen off from that.
Jim George is under fire. Steve Turner in the 26 to the outside now with help from the 36 of Elliott Butler. And this is the first time that the 12 of George has been challenged from the outside lane, because that's where he's been doing his passing here tonight.
Yeah, but really that 71 and the 12 look like they're a really good pair, and they're not, I don't believe they are teammates.
No, Chevy versus Toyota here, so a little bit different.
So, but they're doing a fantastic job working together like they were. They've been pretty much together the entire race so far, so I definitely think they're going to try to work together till the end because they got a good partnership going. So it also looks like at the moment we have a small 7-car breakaway from the rest of the pack, and there you see everyone else coming through out of turn 2.
Yeah, that trailing pack there just really just biding their time there. They're keeping themselves within draft range of the front group, but they're not going to get up there and fight just yet. I mean, again, like I said, the only lap that matters is the last one, and there's no need to lead the other 99 if it's just going to mean putting yourself in a bad situation. Wow, the 71 of Justin Egan really aggressively pushing Jim George. Now, you got to be careful. One of the things we talked about last night in hardline finish is how you got to approach that rear bumper. You have to hit it square or offset to the right. If you offset to the left and you hit that left rear taillight underneath that panel, you're going to send that car around very easily because you're going to be putting lateral pressure on the rear bumper. So if you're going to push, you can do it. You just got to be real careful about how you apply the force with these race cars.
And you especially have to consider also the turns too. You really can't push in the turns. You gotta kind of forget about that. It's just way too risky to pull off. So that's why you see a lot of the guys giving a lot of space between their competitors.
And as the laps tick off, and that space that they're going to leave in the corners is going to get smaller and smaller. And when it comes down to the end of the race, I don't think they're going to leave any space. They'll be pushing as hard as they can, even in the corners, and that's when drama happens.
Yeah, and that's hopefully they'll stay green at that point. But again, with the intensity picking up towards the end of the race, it's kind of a coin toss at that point.
Still side by side for the lead, and I feel like Justin Egan has got to be tired of this. He's been behind the 12, and you got to worry about getting air to the nose of your car, and there he goes to the inside now as the 12 picks up the outside lane. Got to get air to the nose. You'll definitely warm up these cars here, especially turning as many RPM as we are here. You got to get some air to that nose to cool the engine down.
Yeah, that's typically why you see a lot of guys back off and kind of go back towards each other. They kind of contract and expand. Just to give a little bit of a gap. And that's also why you see some guys peek out. You can see a lot of swerving going on now by a lot of these guys, and there's no really reason to, other than to cool the engine and get a little bit of a peek to see what their competitors are doing further up the pack.
Some lap traffic up ahead here, Finian, and kind of a narrow place to deal with lap traffic, especially with how bumpy the outside groove is, so that's going to get real hairy here in just a moment.
Yeah, I would say we're at the newer version of Daytona. It's not too much of a problem, but with the bumps here, on that outside lane, it's going to be very sketchy to make any kind of pass.
At least one of those cars is the 41 of David Mott Jr., and I believe the other car is the 87 of William Troy. And a couple of these cars are, at least Troy is 2 laps down, and Mott Jr. is also 2 laps down, but they're going to try to get out of the way here as here comes the leaders to the inside. And can they get this done without making a huge mess?
Yeah, looks like the leaders were just able to squeeze on by. It's still a little bit tight there, still 3 wide. And here comes the rest of them coming on through. There's a 31 of Cronus, and that's a 14. Gotta find who that is.
That's Bruce Boyer there in the number 14. Wow, almost gets into the 92 of Evan Black and the 51 of Ryan Shelton. But these guys continuing to slide through the pack, and the 31 just clears. Everyone else seems to get through there okay. The 14's going to drop to the inside.
And really good pack management by all these drivers skating on through.
Back up front, we have these guys have been side by side for several laps now. And when does your patience run out here, Fanine? Is it mentally draining to run door to door for so long?
I think as far as maintaining side by side, I don't think it's too much. But I think some of these guys might probably decide, wow, you see. That was a late move by...
Oh, and the 14's turned. Bruce Boyer right in front of the whole field. The 96 collected. The 91 also involved. And the rest of the field's going to pile in here. The big one on lap 24 here at Daytona. And there are 30 cars involved. The 87, the 41. And the 14, Boyer, just got turned across the entire field, Finney. And when that happens, there's not much anyone else can do.
Yeah, as I was saying, that looked like it was a bit of a late move. And that was the result of that. We'll try to catch a replay and see what happened.
Oh, it already happened here. Let's take another look. All right, we'll just roll with that camera angle here and see what we can see again. So the 14 is that white car on the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, and I guess he pulls up in front of the 96. The 96 kind of popped out there, though. I don't know. That's a tricky one. Oh, man. Now, then not much any of these other guys can do, and they just pile on in here, but a lot of cars wadded up in that one. A lot of great cars wadded up. I want to get another look from a slightly different angle here to see exactly, because the 96 kind of popped out to the outside, and the 14 came across his nose for sure, but I guess you got to put that on the 14, right?
It's kind of hard to put it on anyone. The 14 kind of came out there late. The 96 also went to the outside. So, yeah, I would say if anyone were to take blame, it's got to be more so the 14, but it's just an unfortunate incident all around.
I want to get a look at the 31 of Angelo Ronis. Was behind all this when it first started, and I believe he missed at least most of the wreck. Let's ride on board here. See the 14 on the left-hand side of the screen. Comes up and gets turned, and watch the 31 here.
Oh, wow, that is impressive. Wow.
That is amazing.
That's just luck at that point, I think.
I think Ronis,
the fact
that's the driver of the race right there. I don't care what happens from here on out. And let's get one more replay here, because I think the 30 car of Jeremy Miller kind of got turned across the inside of the racetrack, and we'll ride on, see what his ride was like. So the 30 is going to be that car right there, the red and blue, and it's turned in. Oh, Ryan Shelton is also collected in the 51, but he might have gotten away without too much damage. Of course, the 87 kind of piling in here as well, but just a big, big wreck here on lap number 24. All right, well, pit stops have already completed here, and Jim George comes out in first. Mark Emerson won the last race here at Daytona for the Virtual Racing League, sitting in second in the number 22 car.
Yeah, and again, one of those other Dash for Cash drivers. Again, also should have noted two things. Those drivers are indicated by a light green number on the side of their door, pretty much like the color of money.
Oh, nice. So, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, so all 5 of them are indicated by that. And also the driver, one of these Dash for Cash drivers have to win the race. They can't just finish ahead of each other. They have to be the winner at the end.
So you got to win the race. It's got to end under green.
Yep.
And it's Daytona with 38 cars.
Yeah,
that's a tall task.
Yeah, so yeah, Andrew is not giving out his money likely. He is making these guys earn it. So Emerson currently the leading of the Dash for Cash drivers, and we'll kind of actually just try to get a little bit of an update where all of them are at the moment.
So Mark Emerson currently leading in that number 22. And AJ Stravato was one of the other cars. I didn't think he was having a fantastic race, but he always manages to surprise me. He's running back in 21st right now, keeping the nose on the car. I think he managed to slip through that wreck just barely.
Yeah, and then Alec Daffin in the 2.
Sorry,
20, sorry.
Yeah, Alec Daffin is actually second right now out of the Dash for Cash runners.
And then next we have Ben Bafford.
Bafford is in the number 60 back in 19th.
And finally Andrew Schmier.
And Schmier is the 38 running 8th. So it looks like right now it's Emerson, Daffin, Schmier, the
Ben
60
Bafford.
of Bafford,
yeah.
And then finally running it out would be the 33 of AJ Stravato.
So all 5 of them are still running at the moment. And it seems like all of them have gone up pretty unscathed, but again, that could change as we're only a quarter of the way through the race at the moment.
All right, let's do a little DNF update here. It looks like Levi Poland in the number 91 is going to end his night in 33rd. Bruce Boyer in 34th. David Mott Jr. still out on the racetrack with some damage in 35th. William Troy retired in the number 87 back in 36th. Telganov retired in 37th and at number 3. And then Ben Izenga there in the 17 is going to round out the rest of your field. So a big wreck here on lap number 24 takes out a couple competitive race cars, with the 14 of Bruce Boyer being one of them. And a couple other cars received damage. I know John Rodden, that car is not going to be a whole lot of fun to drive.
Yeah, at that point, you're pretty much just driving out there just to get some points, but it's not going to be fun. Yeah, you still got a long way to go, at least an hour if we go green to the end, so I can't imagine he's going to have too much fun dealing with that.
Bailey Turner in the 24. Looks like his car's relatively unscathed, so he's keeping himself out of trouble. Connor Horn fixing damage on his car. Eddie Trejo in the 11. He's actually kept that nose pretty clean here and all that. These guys were mostly riding around in that last group, and it turns out that that's a good place to be.
Yeah, and I mean, it's definitely a good strategy to do. You want to make sure that you don't lose the lead draft completely, otherwise it could really affect the way you pit and what goes on from there. It could be could work out the opposite way for you. But yeah, typically you want to ride out alongside, just behind the tail end of the lead pack, and that's really where you'll be able to avoid a lot of trouble.
All right, let's take a look at where the 4, your pole sitter, is. That's Josiah Vincent back in 24th place. And he's going to come down pit lane with the 1 to green here. Not any damage on that car, but the way things have shuffled out, he's back there a long ways. Yeah,
and I think also Ortega, too, is one of those guys running up towards the front. And again, a lot of these guys, you run up towards the front for a while, you kind of want to just slip on back and just kind of sit on single file rather than being door-to-door the entire time. Just get a little bit of a breather.
Yeah, one of the things I talked about last night in the Hardline race, Finian, was this place is not physically challenging, it's mentally challenging. It's a chess match where if you make the wrong move, you risk hurting yourself physically and taking out millions of dollars worth of racing equipment. So it's very mentally challenging. You got to not make your mistakes now. You got to make them at the end of the race. At least you get that far, because if you make them now, there's no chance you're gonna survive to see the end. If you make a mistake on the last lap, you might manage to slide across the line on your roof, but you make it now, it's race over. All right, well, both M&M's cars are still alive back there after Halloween, the 71 and the 18.
Oh, I didn't realize there was two.
Yeah, the Alec Martinez is in the 18 back here.
And they look pretty much identical.
Actually, I think we right on board with the 41. We might be able to see if they're identical, and they're not, actually. The rear of the 71 has 5 and below on it, I believe.
Yeah.
So if we jumped up to Elliott Butler, you can see right there on the left-hand side of your screen.
It's really not much of a difference.
It matters. It matters. Matters to the sponsor.
Get shout out to 5 and below.
The great store, by the way. You should go there. Anyway, rolling out of turn 4. Jim George, who's been the dominant car today, is going to lead them back to green with the 71, who's been working with them all afternoon. Green flag back in the air here, lap 28. We're almost a third of the way done with this race.
There you see the...
It might be the 20 change lanes before the restart there, Finian, so potentially a penalty coming for him, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. So Alec Daffin changing lanes. We'll have to keep an eye and see if that was caught. And hopefully we didn't alert. Hopefully Andrew's not watching this and just saw that and is going to penalize the 20 now. Again, Dash for Cash driver here tonight.
Yeah, and you see Emerson right in front of another Dash for Cash driver as they head on very single file out at the moment towards the top of the grid. But there's Emerson now you see on the top side, and maybe Daffin's trying to work with him. No, it doesn't look like it's going to be single file for these first 4 cars. Emerson
jumps in line as we continue to head throughout the field. And actually, let's take a look at Chris Gutierrez in the number 6 car. That I believe that's a Ford Fusion that he's running. He's a crossover from the ISDC back in the day, so it's been a while since we've seen him running.
Yeah, and he actually picked up some decent amount of damage. You can see to the rear of that car under that last caution. So, but the front of the car is fine, so it shouldn't be too bad. And it looks like he's able to stick with the draft at the moment. So hopefully he can march his way to the front.
Elliott Butler jumping to the outside to help out Mark Emerson, the driver number 22. As we rocket down the back straightaway.
And you see Daffin sticking to the inside, and also Gabriel Perry joining up on the inside. You see the 71 maybe thinking of joining the outside lane, but too late to make that move.
I don't know if he would have left the 12. I think it was almost an attempt at just blocking that outside lane, but it was a little bit too late, and the 22 of Emerson's going to get a run. Head to the outside with the 36 of Elliott Butler there with them.
Yeah, you see the rest of the field kind of starting to bunch up towards this lead pack as they get formed up side by side towards the front of the field.
And the 26 is Steve Turner on the outside there. He's tucked up behind the 36 of Butler. Those guys have been working together most of the night so far. But Emerson, again, the winner the last time we were here at Daytona for VRL. He's looking for the lead, and he's got a nose ahead. Can he clear the 12 on the back straightaway? He's going to have a run and a push from the 36.
And these guys are going to be pretty much side-by-side advantage to the 22 at the moment. But as they enter the corner, the 12 is going to have the better line.
Drive off into the corner here and running that outside lane. The 22's losing his help. You see the 12 pull ahead just a little bit. Got the 71 right on the rear spoiler as they rocket out of turn 4. Onto the front stretch.
These guys are carrying a tremendous amount of speed through the corner. They're going 195 in the corner, and this is on the bumpy version of Daytona, so it kind of gives an idea of how much faster the paved Daytona would be.
I actually believe there was a gearing change to the setup here tonight that revs them out a little bit higher, and I think that's probably why you're seeing the higher corner speed, is they're not bogging down quite as much. So the corner speed's here up in the upper 190s. Let's ride on board, actually, with Alec Daffin and the number 20 and keep an eye on the speed.
There you see over 200 miles an hour. And just about and this is about 4 or 5 miles an hour slower than what we saw in Hardline last night on the paved version at the end of the straightaway.
193, excuse my yawning. It's been a long day. 193 for Daffin, the slowest speed in the corner.
Yeah, this front 8 pretty much have been all towards the front of the field, or even the entire top 10 have been all towards the front of the field, just in a slightly different order at different times during the day. So they're all pretty much notable cars at this point.
And it looks like Daffin's changing lanes before the restart slipped through, so it looks like he'll be able to continue without a penalty as we carry on. Look at the 18 of Alec Martinez back here, pushing the 31 of Ronis. Remember, Ronis narrowly missing that accident the last time through, and he's got Martinez tucked up under the rear spoiler. trying to move themselves back in, but looks like Ronis doesn't want a whole lot to do with that, so Martinez is going to drive right on through.
Yeah, these guys really need to kind of get single file. And speaking of single file behind them, there's a pretty decent field. I think led by
Ivan Jones in the 53 is the first car in line, with Joshua Banks right behind him.
Yeah, here's some big names in this field. Joshua Banks, Josiah Vincent, Reggie Ortega, Eric Hutton, and Jeremiah Vincent, and AJ Travato. All, again, a lot of big names and notable guys in this series. They're all running toward the back and all together. So they're potentially got something up their sleeve and just trying to stay out of danger. And again, still a long way to go. We're only a third of the way through this race.
Yeah, there is something to run into the back here, but the one thing I worry about just a little bit with a field size this big is we're probably going to end the race with probably over 25 cars still left in this race. That's a lot of cars to drive through. So the danger of staying back here is it's hard to pass here. And the issue with that is if you wait a little bit too long, you have to go through 20 cars to get up to the front, where the guys up front that have been there all night only have to pass 1 or 2 to make a move here. You see them working around the 35 of Banks and the 53 of Ivan Jones. And battle for the lead continues up front. The 22 is clear, but is still riding that outside lane with the 36 of Butler. And the 12 trying to hang on to that lead, and Egan's got to start giving a little bit bigger push if they want to hold on to this.
Yeah, and it looks like they're kind of taking it easy at the moment. But again, now Emerson's in line to clear the 12, but it doesn't look like he looks like he's going to stick with Butler and the 26 of Turner. And Turner almost gets to the wall there. He got very close.
Again, the marbles, too, don't help out there. You can see them, and when you're moving as fast as the drivers are, you can't. I mean, we're looking at it a lot slower than they are. So, obviously, it's not a huge factor here, but it's just enough to reduce your grip enough to send you into the wall, especially with the bumps.
Yeah, and with the Turner losing Butler, it looks like I think the outside lane might start to dissipate at this point in time.
Looks like it. So the 12 of George jumps back out to the lead. And Daffin's going to start making up a couple spot series on the inside of Elliott Butler. You can see a couple of groups. Alec Martinez leading the second group there with Chris Gutierrez, Ryan Shelton, and Angelo Ronis in that group as well.
And then the next major group led by Josiah Vincent in the 4.
I don't know, I like being in the second group because you're close enough. Oh, we got the 12 spinning!
And he's going to turn back into the
right
field.
Across the field. Schmier gets into him and others involved, and George is going to... That's going to be pretty much it for that as in terms of the victory hopes here tonight. But I didn't see what happened there, Finney. I saw it out of the corner of my eye. It looks like, I don't know if she's got loose, but there's actually not as much damage on the car as I thought there would be, but certainly going to take him out of contention. Yeah,
definitely so. A decent amount of damage to the rear and left front of that car. So let's take a replay, a look at the replay of what happened.
Now, did he get turned from the 71? He might have there from Justin Egan. He gets turned back across the field, gets hit by the 38. The 13 gets involved, and oh man, a couple other drivers that just managed to get involved even though they were trying to get out of the way. And that, I was just about to say, I like being in that second group, but let's ride on board maybe with the 71 here and we can get a better look at what happened.
You can see he's already looking to the inside of the 12.
Just a slight tap at the wrong time.
And that is all it took to bring out that caution. So unfortunate end for some people did. Actually, let's take a look at the 27 of Jordan Ashford. Looks like he had an interesting drive.
Riding on board now with the 27. You see the 12 gets out of the groove just a little bit, comes back down, and oh man.
And actually, he took a drive down pit road to try to avoid it.
Yep, you have to come down and slow down to pace speed here, and looks like he's going there pretty quick, but he might have gotten that flag cleared there. So I wanted to also ride on board with Schmier in the 38 because it looks like he was not only hit the door of the 12, but he got hit from behind as well. So riding on board now with Schmier.
And again,
is Schmier a dash driver?
Yeah, he is, and that's going to be the end of his hopes. A decent amount of damage to the front nose. And
oh, the 52 was the one that got collected there at the last second. We'll ride on board with him as well. William Edwards. We haven't mentioned him all night tonight. Unfortunate that the circumstances had to be like this. Again, he dives to the apron. Try to miss this, but he waited a little bit too long, and the 38 Schmier had it locked down, and almost got through and gets tagged.
Hey, can we do one more view? I want to look at the 6 of Chris Gutierrez. I saw him slaloming through this.
I guess we'll take a look. Gutierrez here, who was currently running 11th after all this, but he was behind Alec Martinez there in the 18. I was just saying how you want to be in the second group because you're still within the draft range, but you can miss the wrecks. And looks, he goes all the way down to the apron, and oh, the 38 got rolling, and he had to swing out and miss it, and went for a little slide through the grass. He's just got to come down pit lane, get the grass off the grill. He should be good to go.
So he narrowly avoided that, and he was still only in that second group, so it could have been a lot worse off. But yeah, a lot of big names taken out in that wreck.
Right, well, I believe that was our, third caution here tonight? So third caution, the lap 24 wreck was probably the biggest one, and a couple cars involved in the leader of the 12. Jim George is down on pit lane getting crash damage fixed, and that car is still able to drive. I just don't think it'll be as competitive as it was.
Yeah, it's going to be a little hard. I think really the focus has got to be on fixing that left front damage.
He's going to go a lap down here in just a second, Finian.
I would say, unless he leaves pit road at the moment. I don't know if he has required or not. And it looks like he's sitting on it, so it looks like he has to get that fixed. So unfortunate for the 12, he's going to go one lap down.
Look at Schmier trying to beat the pace car.
And wow, something out of cards right there. This beat the pace car. He's going to stay on the lead lap. He tries to fix that car back up, and he's got not that much damage to his rear or any other part, but the nose of that car, and he's got to worry about the engine damage. So Smear's going to try to get that as fixed as possible. And
looks like George was rolling there for a second, but bailed out. So anyway, we'll reorganize it here. Alec Daffin, now your leader. Mark Emerson again, plate race prodigy here at Daytona, sitting in second. Also the second place in the Dash for Cash race. Daffin currently holds that spot. Gabriel Perry running a nice race in at number 10.
Yeah, he's doing a fantastic job there. Again, a driver from the Fuel Cup Series. He's joining us here tonight, having a great day in third.
Ryan Shelton sitting P5 right now. He's had to navigate a couple wrecks. He was behind that wreck on lap number 24, the big one, and is sitting in fifth right now, looking good. Not a whole lot of damage to the rear of that car, and nothing to the front. And Evan Black still surviving through this race in the number 92. Elliot Butler there as well, and Angelo Ronis. Man, I got it. If we still had the, what was it called? The Good Hands Move of the Race, the All-State Good Hands Move of the Race. If we still had that award, whew, 31 would get it. And I got to throw a shout out there to Alec Martinez in the number 18, leading that second pack and managed to not be involved in the wreck, which was good. You saw the 6 kind of barrel in there a little hot after all that. I think what Gutierrez was aiming for was for that apron, because he thought everyone would be kind of slowed down. But what happened was Schmier was getting rolling again and kind of pulled across the track. And that's what sent the 6 of Gutierrez for a little bit of a ride. All right, so pit stops completed again, and it's taking a little bit of the fuel strategy out of this here, Finian. I think from here on out, one more stop should be sufficient if we go green to the end. And we'll double the field back up and get ready to go racing here again at Daytona.
Yeah, with the fuel situation, it will be a little bit close, but I think, you could definitely have a shot at making it on one more pit stop. And again, that is if we go green all the way from here to the end, which is definitely possible. We've lost a decent amount of drivers. We only have about 30, looks like we only have 29
cars on the lead lap.
Yeah, 29 cars on the lead lap, and the rest are a lap down, and a lot of them with damage, including Jim George.
Yeah, so it looks like Joshua Banks on back are officially retired for the race. David Mott Jr. still 2 laps down. Jim George 1 lap down. So if George can stay the first car 1 lap down, next caution, he'll get a free pass and get his lap back.
And again, that just depends on how much damage he has to his car, and can he stay on the lead up. And actually, notably damage. How about the 13 of Eli Hinton in 14th? He's got some decent damage to his car, the nose. So I can't imagine he's gonna be able to run too long with that. See the nose there, crumple on that Ford Fusion.
Yeah, that's not looking very good there.
So unfortunately, we haven't really talked a lot about him today. He's had a lot of success in VRL. Unfortunately, the first time we had to talk about him, it has to be with him with damage. So hopefully he can stick with the pack, although I don't think we'll be able to.
No. These cars are so aero-sensitive that even the slightest bit of damage can really slow you down. If you're tucked right up on the rear spoiler behind a couple cars, you might be all right, but in terms of competitiveness for the win, it ain't going to happen. The pace car is going to pull off here tonight, and Alec Daffin's going to lead him back to the green once again here, lap 41 of 100.
The green flag is back in the air, and that completes 100 miles here at Daytona. And you see the 20 of Daffin gets a great jump over Mark Emerson, and Gabriel Perry's also going to suck back up to him, and he's going to take control on the inside line.
Gabriel Perry, let's talk about him for a second. Back in the Fuel Rickshaw Cup Series race at Daytona, at the beginning of their season, he was a very competitive car at Daytona. And we have not seen him running quite as well lately. at the 1.5-mile track, so I think he's really got a skill set here that works well. And you see him riding right now in 3rd place with Mark Emerson on the outside. Look at Justin Egan. Is he going to split Emerson 3 wide? No, he'll tuck back in line.
Yeah, it's a little bit too early for my taste to go 3 wides. He's going to have to stick with Emerson, but they're losing a little bit of speed in the outside lane. But they got 4 cars up there, so out of the quarter now they should start to gain some momentum.
You see the field a little bit disjointed up front, then a single car pack back here, and then as we continue to move through the field, Eddie Trejo leading the 24 Bailey Turner around the outside.
And it looks like they're getting around the damaged car of John Rodden in the 96.
Yeah, Rodden's still hanging on to that car and running 18th right now. Onto the back straightaway, look at Perry closing up to the rear end of Daffin, going to give him a push down the back straightaway. Clear the 22 of Emerson. Here comes Shelton now in the 51.
Yeah, Sheldon again almost involved in a few wrecks here tonight. Been able to squeeze on through, and he's gonna take away 4th at the moment, maybe even 3rd if he can get past Emerson.
It's a special skill to avoid wrecks at a restrictor plate race, and Emerson and the 31 of Ronis have been playing that game very nicely here tonight.
You can see we got a small 8-car breakaway at the moment with the lead pack and some other cars.
Ooh, wow, Emerson side drafted the heck out of the 20 and got a great run around the outside and push from Justin Egan. Oh, clear contact! Justin Egan doors the 20 of Daffin in turn 1.
Yeah, it looks like
significant damage there, Pinion.
Yeah, decent amount of damage to that left front. It looks like when both of them came together on the same part of the track, one went a little bit high, one went a little bit low, and that's with also the bumps involved as well.
Yeah, that was a pretty heavy impact there. I wonder if it knocked the toe out of the 71. Almost looks like he's crabbing just a little bit to me, but that might not be right.
It looks like he's able to maintain pace at the moment still. It looks like he's trying to get a draft off Emerson and then shoot around the outside as they come off 4.
Oh, Emerson goes up to block, but a little bit late move there. It's going to shove Egan all the way to the outside wall and back in line. These guys are being very aggressive at the moment. Lots of pushing and shoving and dropping in front of each other.
Currently, Egan in the 71 is our leader, and he's going to actually have a choice now if he wants to stay in the outside lane with Butler or wants to dive down below with Emerson.
I think you'll see his decision off of turn 2 here as we complete lap 43 and onto 44, and he'll stay to the outside. Seeing double with that M&M car. Look at Butler dropping to the inside now.
Yeah, Butler to the inside now. He's going to try to take away the lead from the 71. Great move by him.
Emerson closes back up onto Butler, and now Egan slips back with Ronis right on his rear bumper, and Gabriel Perry closing now. We've got 3 cars in the outside lane, 2 in the inside, and looks like Daffin is backing out of this just a little bit, maybe a little bit nervous?
Perhaps so, but that inside lane has a lot more drivers now that mid-pack's sort of caught up to them. So now we only have 3 guys on the outside lane, and everyone else on the inside.
I think Egan would be silly not to drop down while he can, but they're going to try to get all 3 cars clear if they can. Driving off into turn 1, the front 2 are, and the 10 is half cleared, but they're going to need a big run if they want Perry to clear the 36 off turn 2.
And they might be able to do it now. It's going to take a lot of pushing.
Oh, 71 drops to the inside.
And it looks like the 31 and the 10 are going to stay on the top side, but again, I don't think it's going to last too terribly long.
No, they're stuck up there all alone. You really need 3 or 4 cars to make speed here in the draft. Look at Emerson jumping to the outside.
3 cars, there's the 3rd car there. Emerson jumped to the outside lane. Interesting tactic there.
Whoa, Daffin slips up the racetrack just a little bit, almost gets into the door off of turn 4.
Yeah, these guys almost look like they're racing for the last lap here. You see Ronis almost get shoved into the wall by Perry as he tries to push him out towards the lead.
Well, Ronis is clear, but Perry's not. He's been... Oh, he's going to be so close, but can't quite pull down in front of Egan yet.
We'll see what they can do now with Emerson there, and if the 31 leaves the 10 of Perry, it's going to be over for Perry pretty much. They're going to start slipping back.
Going to have a big push from Emerson here off of turn 2. The 10's going to easily clear the 71. Do they both drop down? Looks like Perry wants to, and he will. And that's going to bring the 31 with them, but the 22 hung out to dry on the outside lane. Butler's going to jump up to the outside now.
Yeah, Butler's going to jump up there to help him, maybe move himself up. But actually, no, Emerson drops down below, and now the 36 of Butler is left up to dry.
Alec Daffin slamming the door on Butler's attempt to get back to the yellow line. So, oh, now the 31 jumps to the outside. Lots of movement here on that 46.
Yeah, a lot of guys leaving people to dry and joining people up top. And, you know, we joke about it that race car drivers have a long memory with them, and you want to remember who's helping you and who's kind of ditching you out there. So there you see the 36 and the 31 meet up.
Yeah, so they're a little bit slow off the corner there, maybe getting out of this mess. But I think the 2 entities with the best memories are elephants and race car drivers, I think. And I almost want to take a look back at Eli Hinton in the 13. You mentioned the damage. He's getting a huge push from Bailey Turner. And the problem with this is that Turner's got a lot more horsepower under the hood, a lot more aerodynamic slickness, so he's pushing the 13. That 13's going to be even more squirrely because he's slower and getting a harder push from behind.
Well, it looks like that's not going to matter too much for long, as he's actually pretty much caught up back to this lead pack, and I'm honestly amazed. That car looks really damaged, but he's still sticking with these guys.
On board now with Alec Martinez, started 29th, running 13th right now. Kept himself out of trouble running in the second pack here tonight, and now on the inside back in 13th.
Yeah, he's had a pretty good day. We'll see, actually, does he decide maybe to jump up to the outside lane, maybe help Butler and Hronis get back to the front, but those two guys have been losing a lot of ground. Actually, there you see...
That's the 71 Egan.
Yeah, he's going to jump outside with Emerson, interestingly enough, and there goes Daffin down the inside, followed by Sheldon behind.
Emerson is just so aggressive with his moves that he makes, and he just makes this look easy. He's not content running third. He'll go up and take the lead. I don't care what lap it is, and that's how he won the race earlier in the year, and here he is again, starting a new season already, showing his strength here at Daytona.
Yeah, it looks like they're not going to have too much help on the outside lane, as Hronis and Butler are trying to draft back up to them to give them a little bit of a help.
Daffin drifted up in the mid-corner and almost got hit from behind from Shelton, but Shelton had good restraint, backed off of it, kept them both out of trouble.
And there you go. There you see the 31, 36. They've reached the 71, and now they got 4 cars on that outside lane working together.
Shelton gave a huge shove to the 20 off of turn 2, got him pretty loose down the back straightaway. You got to wonder, that 71 doesn't seem like his pushing power is quite as strong since he got that damage.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like so, and I can imagine that definitely is hurting him. There's a lot of that left side tire that's exposed to the air, and that can really disrupt the way your car is handling and just your top speed overall. So I can imagine it's not helping him in any way, shape, or form, but he's currently dealing with and doing a solid job at the moment, but it's probably not as much as he would like. 22
Emerson clears Perry on the inside, and can he drop down in front of him? Is he going to wait? Looks like he is going to wait and maybe try to bring the 71 with him.
Well, we'll see as they come down the back straight. There goes the 22 to the inside. He's going to ditch the 71. The 71, though, is going to have a chance now getting the lead as he gets a push from the 31 of Hronis.
And a big run indeed. And Hronis is going to give that 71 a shot, but they're going to have to try at least one more straightaway because the 71 did not get clear, and he'll have to gain that momentum back as Emerson's got a push from Perry.
You see a lot of this lead pack is starting to form up, and I think they're trailed last by the 88 of Eric Hutton behind. That's our lead pack at the moment, and actually a few more behind as well.
Egan clears Mark Emerson. Does he drop down in front, or does he wait another moment?
I don't know. It depends. Does he want to get the 31 to work with him? It's kind of hard to help out someone while also trying to gain position at the same time. So we'll see. Hronis is going to give him a little bit of a shove, but will it be enough to clear? I don't think so.
Right on board now with Gabriel Perry. And Perry running 4th right now. Been managing this race very well. A very brightly colored car. And some lap traffic up there. Is that Schmier in 38? No, I thought Schmier was in... Oh, it is Schmier.
Yeah, it looks like that damage is just too much for that car. Looks like he's not able to maintain pace. He's going to see him get blown by the rest of the field. He's only doing 170 in the corners.
Yeah, that car it's not fully up to speed for sure. And he's... Now, that's the first lap he's down, so he might be able to get himself back in this. If he can get collected at the tail of the field here. But back up front, still battling for the lead. Egan and Emerson. Egan's really sticking to the outside lane. He's cleared Emerson a couple times now, but now it's allowing Emerson to get back to the inside. And a strong move from the 22, and it's going to allow Emerson to challenge the fight here on lap 52. Actually, we've passed the halfway point here now, Finian.
Yeah, halfway through this race. Still got a long ways to go, though. And these guys, remember, still also have to make a pit stop. We're a little bit away from that. So these guys can still continue to go on, but we should see pit stops at around lap 70.
Yeah, I think lap 70 would probably be the latter half of it. I think you might see guys start coming in like 67, 68. And then last night we saw a lot of disjointed pit strategy. Not really 2 or 3 big groups. It was a lot of smaller groups. And I think you'll see something similar here tonight. Through turns 3 and 4 now. Man, Hronis again running so well. The 71 gets up into the wall there just a tad. It's going to slow him up. But Hronis, Finian, running a great race. Wouldn't be here if he didn't jump on the brakes as quickly as he did on lap 24.
Yeah, did a fantastic job getting out of that wreck, and now he's up here currently in 4th. pretty much in line, and it's been constantly changing, but he's doing a solid job on that outside lane. Looks like the 36 of Butler jumped down, but here comes the 51 of Sheldon behind.
And Evan Black, the number 92, running now right behind Shelton. A little bit of damage to the rear bumper of that 51. Didn't quite see where that got picked up, but probably checking up for one of the accidents. But not going to hurt the 51 too much. It's definitely not the front that's as important. It's the rear. It's the front. But Shelton gets the rear bumper of Ronis, and it's going to offer him a little bit of help. But Emerson and Perry are going to pull ahead.
Looks like they have a little bit of an advantage up there, but here comes the 71 now charging back around for Emerson.
Out of the lead. I see Butler kind of hanging in there. He's been a little bit less aggressive the past couple laps, just kind of riding in the draft, biding his time. You see Daffin hanging out there as well. And look at the 9 of Ryan Hesgard. We haven't seen him all day, or at least we haven't talked about him all day, running that Napa paint scheme and that Chevrolet Camaro. He's running in 9th right now, looking pretty good.
Again, having a quiet day, and again, yeah, he's been one of those guys that's just been kind of running in the mid-pack, staying towards the back, staying out of trouble, and that's allowed him to continue on in the second half of this race, and is just in the top 10. We got up ahead, and a wreck. No caution at the
31 of Ronis, no caution.
That was a big wreck. We say green. I don't think we'll get an admin caution.
No, that's a lot of damage there, Finian.
Yeah, and the 31 Ronis, he's had a great run all day long, but they're going to continue out front disjointed.
Yeah, the rest of the field kind of spread out around here. But there was another car that was slow. Eli Hinton had a lot of damage there, so...
Oh, and that was unfortunate for Hinton, too. He was doing a solid job sticking with these guys up front, but this is going to be pretty much terminal damage to that 13.
All right, well, let's find Ronis here and go back and take a look at what happened and find out exactly what caused this 31 to get wrecked. And had the 51 of Shelton behind him. Gets up into the wall. Oh, yeah, just got up on the wall and tagged by the 51, and Evan Black gets into him there. Oh, that's where the contact with the 13 happened. So the field disjointed there, but again, Ronis just made a little bit of a mistake and got up into the wall, and unfortunately, Shelton didn't have enough time to react.
So now we got to do the big task of trying to see where everyone else is running, because that really broke up the pack here.
The front didn't change up too much, but it definitely broke up, as you said, fitting in the pack race here. The running order hasn't changed around all that much. Egan, Emerson, Perry, a 3-car breakaway. And then Butler running by himself right now. He's going to definitely get overtaken here shortly by the guys behind him. Ryan Hesgard there with the 62 of Anthony Burrows. And look at the 51 of Shelton. He's trying to make do with that damaged race car.
He should be able to if he's tucked in behind someone, but again, I don't know if he has the power. And then, it's a decent amount of damage that he collected by hitting Ronis.
And AJ Stravato closes up now. He was back running in the mid-20s earlier, but he's now running in 9th place. Alec Martinez in 10th. Another little battle here.
And you see Evan Black too, and I think he's starting to suffer with that damage to his nose.
Yeah, he definitely got a bad end of it there, Finney, and it's hurting his performance for sure.
And then behind them, it looks like we have a small pack. We're led by the 24.
Bailey Turner, Eric Hutton. We haven't talked about him at all tonight either in that Valvoline Camaro. Along with Jeremiah Vincent, Reggie Ortega, Josiah Vincent. They've all had very quiet nights, hanging out, waiting for their time to pounce.
And these guys were at the tail end of that lead pack when that wreck happened, so they're able to back off. But they're a decent amount of time away from the leader. It looks like they're about 12 seconds behind, so they got to kind of catch that back up.
And I don't think we're done with cautions just yet here, Finian, but these front three really kind of granted a little bit of a bonus here, because actually it looks like Egan's fallen off the pace just a little bit. And with that damage, he might actually lose this draft.
Yeah, he's going to have to try to keep that pedal floored as much as possible. It's kind of easier said than done when there's only other guys to work with around you. But yeah, so we have the first one. You can't even see anyone else in the frame. That's how far they've kind of eked ahead. And there you see the 9 of Hesgard. He's got picked up by the second pack.
Anthony Burrows there. Whoa, Daffin gets a little bit loose off the nose of Shelton. And Shelton's bumper is all so ragged looking. That's going to start hooking the cars around in front of him. So he's got to be careful when he pushes now. That is not as smooth as it was.
Yeah, so now we got a decent guys in this mid-pack, so they're going to have to try to chase down the rest of the leaders. And they should be able to do so.
Now, if we run green here, Finney, this is going to bring in some pit strategy, because you have to pit with your friends. And if you get separated here, you're going to lose the draft, especially when this group is so spread out like this. You have to pit with your friends. We're about 10 to 12 laps to when we see people coming down pit lane, so you have to start thinking about it, especially with these leaders so far out front.
Yeah, and that mid-pack that we were just looking at, they are catching the leaders by about 0.3 a lap, so they definitely are going to catch at them at some point. But how about this little fight here?
Back, I believe that's Alec Martinez there in 12th, Eric Hutton and Bailey Turner. This is getting a little bit racy.
And it looks like this kind of faster group overtaking the slower group on the inside.
Yeah, they're making really good speed right now because they have more cars in this group, and they're going to quickly close the gap on the leaders. And if it continues for about 10, 15 more laps, they will overtake the leaders.
Yeah, and they were 12 seconds back at one point. They're now down to 10.5, 10.4. So they're making a lot of, like you're saying, they were making a lot of speed. So
about a 7 to 8 mile an hour difference.
Yeah, so they can stay together. They should be able to draft their way back up there. So honestly, great job of these guys staying out of trouble, and now they're working together very nicely to try to draft back up.
See the Hutton Motorsports decal on the back of the number 8. Those teammates working together.
So again, if you just joined us and kind of wondering why all the times are messed up, there was a wreck in the middle of 3 and 4 by 31 of Hronis. He got into the wall just a little bit, and that caused a big, not stack up, I guess, but everyone ended up separating into several distinct packs and groups of cars, and they're all kind of trying to draft up towards the front to start racing each other again.
Well, the 3 breakaway cars here, Finian, really it's almost 2. Egan's really struggling to hang on to this. They're breaking away, but they're only running about 189 miles an hour compared to Bailey Turner. They're hitting 195 in the corners and 201 on the straight, so they're making up a lot of time. You mentioned it just a minute ago that they were 10 seconds back. Now it's 8.7, and they're continuing to close that gap.
Yeah, significantly so. And also another thing to keep in mind too, we're going to start seeing pit stops within about 5 to 10 laps. So, and these guys are going to still be separated like this. So now it's a matter of making sure you pit with a few people you have around you.
Well, again, but the problem is that this 3-car breakaway isn't making a whole lot of speed. So they're going to struggle if they pit now. So I think almost maybe wait until you get a couple more cars, maybe the 9 and the 62, if they can let those guys catch back up. They can get a little bit bigger pack before they come down pit lane.
Yeah, they're catching them with significant pace. They're catching them by about by 0.6 of a second a lap. So they're definitely closing in.
And about 5 laps to we're expecting pit stops. Of course, I think people might run the tanks a little bit drier here towards the end because, again, 30 to 35 laps on the fuel window here this evening. So the window opens soon. I just think we'll wait till, we'll wait a little bit longer until they come down. Let's take a look at the stints that we're running on, about 27. So they can go about 8 more laps maximum. So we're starting to run out of time here. Keep an eye. Pretty much everyone on the same strategies, though. Checking back in with the Turner group, 7.3 back and making a ton of time. 5 Chevrolets and a Toyota in this group.
Yeah, these guys are the fastest cars on the track at the moment. So it kind of just comes to show how a bigger pack of guys can have a lot more speed.
AJ Stravato just tacking onto this group at the end. Another Dash for Cash driver here tonight.
He's kind of in danger of losing this group. He's just nearly on the tail end.
Yeah, he's got a lot of speed, though. I think he's got a pretty strong draft at the moment. He's just got to close up a little bit more to be safe.
And there you can see on the right side of the screen the Ryan of Hesgard. He's catching these leaders up, so it's going to be now about a 7-car pack up at the front of the field.
And they're not going to have a huge head of steam. They're not making up as much time as they were. So I don't think they're going to blow around the outside of these guys as much as we thought maybe a lap or 2 ago. They're just going to slowly collect. And that's going to stall the progress of Turner, Hutton, Vincent, Ortega, Vincent, and Martinez. As I said Vincent twice because they're both running in that same group. But their progress will slow once these guys get back together, and already the speed's beginning to climb up at the front. You can see the difference there in track position. Now you're starting to talk on the radio, you're starting to find your friends and thinking about pitting. And pit stops here, Finian. Again, we always talk about how tricky it is to get onto pit lane. There's so much space, but it's about how late you can brake. The brake package here on these Cup cars is very tiny. They don't use them a whole lot here, so there's no point in having a big old brake package on these cars. It's just extra weight. So small brakes means that you're going to very easily lock them up. and spin the car out into pit lane.
Yeah, it really catches a lot of guys who aren't really used to pitting on super speedways or haven't done it in a while. It'll really catch them off guard because you think you can brake a lot later than you can, and you end up sliding through your pit stall, and that can cost you about a second or two, which might not seem like a lot, but if you lose the people you were drafting with, that can cost you tons of seconds later on in the race.
Schmier and Rodden going another lap down here. Both those guys are greater than 1 lap down. But yeah, the pit road entrance here is very tricky, and remember, you cannot speed coming down pit lane. That's going to throw everything off, so people may be taking a look this time through. No one's going to take it. Now, if you're the trailing group here, Finney, do you just pit now, or do you wait for the front group and then respond? I
would say probably wait for the front group, or honestly, since they're making a little bit more speed, or actually, I guess they are making about the same speed now. I don't know. It's kind of tough to tell at this point. I would say kind of honestly just do what the leaders are doing, or more importantly, do what your own group's doing as far as when they're communicating with each other.
There's not really a point to undercutting here because the tires don't mean a whole lot. Of course, fresh tires will make your car handle a little bit better, but it's not going to gain you a whole lot of speed like they would have at a mile and a half.
So yeah, so typically it's all going to come down to fuel mileage and just making sure these guys can make it to the end.
Well, it looks like the 71 took a look, and it's going to shove the 9 of Hesgaard to the outside. And that second group staying out on the racetrack as well.
Yeah, we are pretty much, I would say, within the window of where these guys could make it to the end. I would be surprised if they couldn't at this point, so you might start seeing some guys starting to make some calls maybe to come down pit road.
Yeah, it looks like Hesgaard and Burrows are to the outside of Egan now. A little bit of an aggressive move. I thought coming down towards time for pit stops, you'd probably just want to sit in line, but they wanted around the 71, and they're going to do it. Look at the head of steam that at least the 9 car had, and the 62 is going to bail out. I think that might signal here, Finian, that they're coming to pit lane soon.
Yeah, let's see. So keep an eye on them as they come out of turn 4 now. Who's going to dive below the apron?
Here they come.
Here they come, all of them.
Oh, got to watch out. The 71 a little bit loose there, and Daffin's trying to make it. And here comes the second group.
Yeah, second group. Everyone's coming down.
Oh, the 30. Or, excuse me, the 24. But that's not the 24. Wow. And Jeremiah Vincent involved.
And Emerson spun out of pit road as well at the bottom of the screen. So and he was our leader.
I didn't see how he's got significant damage. I don't know if he got run into, but
yeah, it looked like he got it locked down. I imagine that he probably got hit from behind. That's going to cost him a huge amount of time on pit road.
I don't remember if it was Schmier that drove into the back of the field. Let's take a look at what happened to Emerson.
It looks like he's all good here.
Oh, it was the 9 car that spun him out. Oh, and the 20 also got significant front end damage from that. And then let's take another look from behind at the second group here, Finian.
Yeah, I think Schmier was the one that hit them, and yeah, he had...
Yeah, Schmier drilled the 2 car Bortega, which knocked the 8 into the wall and took out a couple cars there. So major, major damage for a lot of these cars here that were race contending race cars.
Yeah, that's going to change the order of everything by a lot.
Well, Daffin's back out on the racetrack. You see significant damage. Didn't take any time to repair that car. AJ Stravato now comes into the pit lane. He's going to pit by himself, which is good. I would say that would hurt, but everyone else had such a terrible pit sequence.
Again, it's really hard to tell at this point what's going to happen. But yeah, here's the 10, the 20, and the 36. They're running in the lead pack at the moment. And you see the 71 also behind them. So now they're been reduced to a group of 4. And we'll see where everyone else is going to come out in all of this.
30, now 29 laps to go when there's been a big, big shuffle in the strategy here. I think a lot of cars are a lot more damaged than we expected them to be. Josiah Vincent now leading this second group. Bailey Turner escaped damage, as did Eric Hutton and Anthony Burrows. But they're only a group of 4, and they got now 11 seconds to make up on the leader. Look at Gabriel Perry. He got through that without a whole lot of damage, as did Butler and Egan.
Yeah, it looks like Daffin's now starting to lose pace, so his car is too damaged to maintain in the draft, so that's going to be very unfortunate for him.
Now, he's leading the Dash for Cash drivers, but with that damage, I think that puts the 33 in the catbird seat, although Stravato is now going to be in danger of getting run over from the group behind him as they're coming with a huge head of steam.
Yeah, I think he's going to have to try to get up to speed as much as possible so he can catch the draft of this group and work with them to chase back towards the front.
And we'll see if Vincent's going to...
Yeah, it looks like he's up to speed now, so he'll try to tack onto the end of this group. They're going to go around him on the outside.
Yeah, good choice to choose the inside lane. Make them go around the long way. It might make it a little bit easier to swing up into their draft instead of letting them pass on the easy way around the inside.
And there they go, charging on the outside. They're going to get around the corner, and they've got about, it seems, about 7 7.5 seconds. Well, a little bit squirrely there from this group.
4 car checked the 24 down below the yellow line, but they got it all sorted out, and Stravado will tack on and will pick up the draft, but that's going to shuffle the 4 of Vincent out of line.
Yeah, now these guys have a large group of cars to work with. There's only 3 guys in the group up front, and now this group of 5 now is going to try to hunt them down with under 30 laps to go.
Well, they have 8 seconds to make up, and Gabriel Perry leads this. In this front 3-car group, these guys are in pristine condition. Daffin behind is pretty bent up, and Bailey Turner is the first competitive car after Egan in line here. So they got a lot of work to do. They have a lot of time left, over 25 laps to go, but it's certainly going to be interesting to watch here.
Yeah, my eyes are currently glued to the Delta screen. It looks like the 24 is catching the leader of that second pack. It looks like they're catching. Wow, as they try to weave through some traffic. Hello, through the middle.
Threading the needle.
Yeah, they are catching the leaders right now, so if they can continue on this pace that they're going at, they will reach them. But it's, again, do they have enough time? I think they do, but they're slowly catching them.
Well, they're going to need to average a pretty high speed here, and after getting broken up there, they're only at about 195. The front group is making up a ton of speed. These cars are in perfect condition and rocketing down the front straightaway at 200 miles an hour.
Yeah, I think these front 3 would love the race stand under these conditions, because they only got to worry about 3 other guys to race against, and if anything, you're guaranteed the top 3. So I can imagine they don't want to see any sort of caution to come out, but I definitely can imagine the rest of those guys want to.
That's a big gap.
Yeah.
That's a big gap.
Last time by, they were 0.3 of a second faster, and that was with dodging all that traffic, so I think it's possible for them.
They're certainly making more speed now. A 201 into the corner for Bailey Turner with Eric Hutton tucked up behind him. Anthony Burrows kind of all by himself. Hadn't seen him work with a whole lot of people today, but here he is now running in the 6th place with Josiah Vincent and Eric Hutton straddling him on either side.
Yeah, you guys are doing a great job again. Everything you need to do now. So now gap's now down to 7.5 seconds.
Yeah, we're going to be watching that Delta. I think they're going to get there, Finian. We're going to be 25 to go when we get to the line. That's a lot of time left here. And these guys, if they push hard, they may be making speed. If they don't push hard, they're going to lose ground. The only problem is you can only push as hard as Egan is for so long before that engine gets hot.
Yeah, I think what these guys definitely need to do is make sure they stay single file like this. They can't afford to start battling for position unnecessarily, because otherwise they're going to end up letting that back group catch up to them. And again, this is the perfect condition for all of them, because they can get away with a top 3 depending on where they finish, but I don't think they want anyone else to ruin their battle.
Well, they're done with pit stops here tonight, so it's just going to be a race to the end now. And you see, again, you mentioned it, Finian, you can't get double file, and Egan's to the inside, going to try to take advantage of the 36 of Butler, but that is a blessing for the group behind.
Yeah, again, you can see now he's trying to get back behind them, but it's already affected them enough. Now the gap's down to almost 7 seconds behind, so they're catching with some speed.
And the group behind him is taking advantage of that. And it slowed up the front group's momentum.
These guys are a bunch of very tight together, doing an awesome job of sticking in line.
Try to see if we could see the temperatures on the dashboard, but forgot that data doesn't get transmitted, so that doesn't help us out too much. It's hot in there for sure. Hutton starting 17th and up to 5th, so good improvement for Hutton today.
Yeah, and again, we don't talk about it a lot, but it's a really bunch of a balancing act with the car behind trying to push. You got to make sure your own engine's good, but you also want to make sure you're gaining some speed. So it's a big balancing act that you have to keep control of, otherwise your engine can go by.
Six and a half seconds now, the difference. And Egan falling off just a little bit, and as soon as that car falls off, they lose that momentum, and they have to spend about half a lap getting it back. And that's really hurting their speed. And again, I think it's just a matter of time here, Finian, but once this trail group gets there, I'm just not sure if the speed differential is going to be enough to let them just drive around the outside of this front group.
I don't know, they might be able to. As soon as they get into the tailwind of the 71, they might be able to get enough speed by drafting behind. Maybe they're going to try to do a slingshot, because they do have 5 cars to work with opposed to the 3 on the inside, so they could just let jump to the outside and let momentum take care of the rest, so they can just keep on pushing.
Well, you can't really see it now. Let's jump on board with Gabriel Perry and look up ahead. There's some lap traffic there, Finian, and it's not just 1 or 2 cars. It's a group.
Oh, and they're wrecking up in
crashing. And riding on board with Perry, they're going to whoa down, and caution is out here. And Chris Gutierrez is one of the drivers involved, rolling slow on the apron. That changes everything.
Yeah, pretty much anything we were just talking about these guys catching up, it's all going to be thrown out the window.
Funny how that works, doesn't it?
They're all going to be grouped up together.
Caution out here on lap 78. Let's go back, take a look at what caused it here. All right, so this is the 6th of Chris Gutierrez, and behind him, I believe that's the 60 of Ben Baffert. Another Dash for Cash driver. Oop, gets hit from behind, and Baffert gets into him. The 41 of Mott gets collected, and oh, hard impact to the outside wall.
Yeah, it looks like he hooked Gutierrez where his damage was. Just the way the nose and the bumper lined up.
It's even right on board with the 17 car, Finney, and Ben Zenga, who is involved in one of the early incidents. But you see how damaged. Actually, this is Ben Baffert. Let's jump back one more car. And you're going to see the 6 slightly offset, and the 60 just catches it just the wrong way. And not a whole lot the 17 could have done, gets into him, although there's not a whole lot for him left to hit. And you see the field wadding up, and the leader's getting around. All right, Finian. Crew chief time.
Honestly, just stay out.
I agree.
There isn't really much point in pitting. I think these guys should be going fuel, especially with the caution now, but it looks like they might come.
They're thinking about it, but I think they're going to stay out.
Yeah, I mean, you don't really need tires around here.
Bailey Turner thinks about it.
Nope,
the 62 is going to come, though.
Interesting. All right. Interesting move there. So he's going to come down, lead a few others. And I guess the logic is there aren't that many cars on the lead lap, or at least close to it. So
well, he dragged a bunch of cars with him, which is going to help for sure. And
I guess
another one.
Yeah, and also a lot of these cars do have damage, so I think that's also why we're seeing a lot of guys pit.
Alec Martinez in the 18 down on pit lane as well. I like this for AJ Stravato, though. I mean, he's one of the only cars left in the Dash for Cash situation here that doesn't have any damage. He'll return to the racetrack and be in pretty good shape with fresh tires. And again, tires aren't a massive difference here, but they don't hurt.
No, yeah, it doesn't hurt to have them, and you could argue that with this abrasive surface and bumpy surface, it definitely is better to have them. But I'll let Jordan Ashley.
We haven't talked about him all night.
I forgot he was running it.
He slipped under the radar here.
Yeah,
tonight.
throughout the entire last 20 laps. Thought he got caught up in that, but yeah, this car is pristine. Looks like they just rolled it off the hauler.
I mean, okay, to be fair, the last time we were here at Daytona, his car looked like it had just rolled off the hauler and fell off the hauler, and he ended up doing really well in that race. So I don't really think Ashland's car condition matters to him too much. Currently running 13th, though. Yeah,
last season's champion doing a fantastic job so far, staying out of everything. He's in 13th. It's got a perfectly good car to work with for the rest of this race.
Well, Gabriel Perry is in a great spot here, and we mentioned his strength here at the Fuel Cup Series race back at Daytona about 11 or 12 weeks ago. And now riding in first with Elliott Butler there on the outside, Justin Egan, Bailey Turner, Eric Hutton, your top 5, Josiah Vincent, Eddie Trejo, Steve Turner, Corey Boudinot, and Mark Emerson rounding out your top 10. Now, does Emerson have too much damage to really be a threat? I don't know. This car looks pretty good up front.
Yeah, he got a good lick from the back from the 9 of Ryan Hesgaard. But no damage to the front of his car, it should seem. So I think he should be fine to go on the rest of his distance. I can't see too much about the 2, actually, of Reggie Ortega ahead of him. Actually, no, Ortega is a lap down. 3 laps down, actually.
Yeah, Ortega collected.
So he's currently scored in 25th.
Ortega, again, collected in that pit road incident that also took out the 8 car of Jeremiah Vincent, who returns to pit lane in 20th to fix some more damage.
Yeah, and the 8 is actually... I'm so surprised he's on the lead lap. I thought he went a lap down at some point.
Yeah. But Wrangler car is mangled.
Yeah, it's definitely seen some better days.
All right, well, 20 laps to go here, Finney. The laps have counted down now, and we always talk about when the right time to make the move is, and this version of Daytona gives you a little bit more flexibility than the newer version.
Yeah, definitely so. So we'll see what these guys are kind of up to, really, here with these last 20 laps.
I just think the newer surface is so smooth. I think because of the bumps here, it gives you the opportunity to make a move later than the newer version. So I think you might see the last lap, last corner pass be much more effective here than it would be on the Daytona we were racing on last night.
Yeah, it's pretty much like the old... this track makes the Cup package similar to what we saw in about 2013, 2014, where you're able to really have a nice solid 2 lanes going at a time, even 3, honestly, if you dare try it. I don't think anyone will dare try that, or they might, but it might go end disastrously. But yeah, the second outside lane could hold up a lot more of their own than compared to the newer version of Daytona, just with the way the package is. So we can't see, like you're saying, a lot of last lap passes or last lap maneuvers, because it can work on this version of the track.
Yeah, I think smoother tracks, you have to make your move earlier because everyone's so close to the edge of grip that there's not really anything else you can do. It's really just flat foot here you can lift. I mean, there's all sorts of ways you can drive this race course, and coming down to the white flag, I think probably second or third is the best place to be. And again, I think with the pack the way this is, I wouldn't put a yellow line controversy out of the question. Keep your tires above that yellow line. Don't put yourself in a position to get forced, because if you get forced down there, it's a question mark of how it's going to get called. Keep yourself, bully your way through if you have to, but you know, keep it between the wall and that yellow line, or else it's going to get crazy. All right. Well, we're going to have a restart with 18 laps to go. It'll be about 14 minutes of racing, just under that if we go green to the end.
And notably the 71's on the apron. I wonder if he's saving fuel.
Well, yeah, traditionally that's because the fuel pickup is on the right-hand side of the car. Because of the way the fuel systems in these stock cars work, the fuel is fed from the right side of the car because the fuel's pushed up by the centripetal force. So maybe he's down on the apron trying to get that fuel collector filled, but you know, again, you shouldn't have to worry about that. They just pitted a little while ago. Let's actually take a look. It's 12 laps into the stint, 19 to go, about 30 laps. They should be fine.
Yeah, that's what I'm kind of surprised that he's doing, and I guess he maybe just for him it's just in case. I don't know, but yeah. So hopefully he has enough fuel in that tank. And
nothing wrong with shutting the car off to save a little extra fuel. That's never going to hurt you, as long as you can get it fired back up. But again, the fuel pickup on the right side of the fuel tank, so getting it down to the apron lets it slosh over there, because the slow speeds, there isn't enough force to push the fuel up the banking. I feel like Larry Mack.
Alright, so we got, from the looks of it, we got 22 cars still left on the lead lap. It's a lot lower than the 38 we started with.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we got some still guys left running, but they're a bunch of laps down. Pace car is going to pull off, and we're going to hopefully finish the rest of these 18 laps under green flag, and there it is. Green flag's in the air. Perry's going to lead them down.
Kind of a poor start for the 4-car of Josiah Vincent there. It's going to back up that outside lane just a little bit. The 26 Steve Turner trying to push him forward.
And we're almost 3 wide there in the middle of the field.
And Mark Emerson's right in the middle of all this, as is Jordan Ashland. And look at the 18 of Alec Martinez trying to make something happen out here. Look at the 42 middle 3 wide. Connor Horn.
And there you see a bunch of guys jostling for position there.
Off of turn 2. Up front, looks like Egan's looking to the outside of Gabriel Perry, and Perry doesn't have any help.
Yeah, he's got no one to work with on the bottom now, and it looks like the 71 and the 36 are going to soar on the outside.
Perry helpless on the inside lane. Look at Josiah Vincent behind. He looked to the bottom for a second, but didn't quite get down there.
And it looks like Perry's pissed every single one of these guys off because no one wants to work with him at the moment.
Well, Eddie Trejo's coming in the burnt auburn colored 11 car. Maroon is the word I was looking for. Oh, look at the 71 jumping to the inside, and Butler's going to leave him out to dry as well. And look at Bailey Turner, the number 24 car, started back in 27th, running 3rd here with 17 to go.
I would say the 24, the 88, and the 4, and even the 11 as well, and the 62, they've all been running towards the back of the field all day long. Here they are in the front and in the heat of this battle as they try to make a name for themselves here in these last few laps.
Well, look at this group. The 24, the 88, and the 4, they were coming from the back. They were going to get there under green, but the caution helped them. Now they're running 2nd through 4th, right behind the lead car, the 36 of Elliott Butler. 24, Bailey Turner drops to the inside and lead Butler out to dry now. Here they come to the lead, and Turner's going to lead that lap.
Yeah, great execution from those guys. The 24 and the 88 are working together as teammates. So fantastic job by them to get towards the front of the field.
And this is a group that has planned this race out. They've kept themselves out of trouble by hanging around at the back, and now with coming to 15 laps to go, they put themselves in a great position. All they got to do now is keep those cars out front.
Yeah, and how about Gabriel Perry? He was leading this race coming to the restart, and now he's all the way back in 6th. And it's going to could potentially lose some more positions.
Got hung out to dry by that 71 car, so I don't think he's going to do Egan any favors as we close in the end of this race. Pushing and shoving, the 71 and 36 getting lined back up. They're going to try to make a run on the outside. The problem is these 3 cars on the inside, they've been working together, Finian, and we got 3 cars on the inside that are working together that strong. It's going to be really hard to get a team to go up around the outside of them.
So again, teammates up towards the front of the field, and they pretty much have control of this race at the moment.
And Gabriel Perry back in line here. He's making speed as well, pushing the 4 of Vincent.
Yeah, 71 and 36 looks like they're going to start losing some momentum there. They're the only 2 cars on that outside lane. Everyone else a single file towards the bottom.
Eddie Trejo jumping into the top 5 for the first time tonight. Dr. Pepper on the hood of that Camaro.
There's a 71 leaving the 36 out to dry, but caution is out in the air, and that's a 20 of Daffin. He's spinning around.
That car's wrecked.
Yeah, on the front straightaway. So kind of wonder what happened to him. We saw that he was off the pace earlier, and he was starting to lose a bit of the lead draft. He's falling in back with some of the other drivers, but we'll see catching a replay of what happened to him.
And had the 18 of Alec Martinez on the rear bumper of him. Oh, it looked like Martinez just got into him there, Finian.
Yeah, that was almost exactly like what happened with the 71 and the 12. And arguably both were in Eminem's car, interestingly enough.
Let's get another look here. Again, I think Martinez here, this is when you got to know to back out, Finian. You just hitting that left rear.
Yeah, and then hard hit by the 20 into the wall, and you see a bunch of guys trying to avoid, doing a great job. Diving to the inside, but yeah, unfortunate end for Alec Daffin's day. Just kind of insult to injury at this point.
All right, well, we're going to get a restart with probably about 10 laps to go, and it's going to split up this front group. They're going to have 2 guys on the inside. Well, yeah, let's see, the 24, the 88, and the 4. So the 4 and the 24 are going to line up. The 88 and the 10 are going to line up on the outside lane. I like that outside. I think Gabriel Perry is going to be a good pusher to that 88 of Eric Hutton. We've seen Hutton's speed in the past and the ability to make moves. I think he's in a good spot. And look, where's the 22 of Emerson back in 16th place. So if he wants to make something magical happen, I think he's going to have to find a magical partner here.
Yeah, I don't think it looks like he's not going to be able to really. It doesn't look like he was able to keep some pace here. I think the lead cars were only about 12 or 13 of them, and everyone else is kind of just tagging along behind as best as they can with damaged cars. So, not entirely sure if Emerson has enough car left to really stick with these guys up towards the front of the field.
All right, and AJ Stravato, Finian.
I just saw him jumping down the order. I'm wondering if he retired or something.
Yeah, still marked in 18th place. Maybe lost connection too, possibly. Again, that's always the default go-to if we don't see what happened to a driver. But again, Dash for Cash. This has been cursed on the Dash for Cash drivers here tonight.
Oh, he jumped back. Okay, he joined back.
All right, good. Internet's back sorted out. But again, that could always still drop, so you have to keep an eye on that. Anyway, let's go take a look for our Dash for Cash drivers here, because there's not one that close to the front.
I think the closest was the 33 Radius.
It is AJ Stravato. Yeah. He's his best one running right now. And looking back through the field, Ben Bafford in the 60 in 14th place. His car's actually in pretty good shape after being in the middle of a lot of stuff.
Yeah, he got that pretty repaired as far as cosmetic goes on the outside the fenders. Not sure how that engine's doing because he took a very hard lick, so I'm not sure if he's able to stick with the pace. Speaking of sticking with the pace, it looks like Emerson also struggled with that, like we were talking about back in 16. And I'm trying to look through the field real quickly if anyone else. Daffin, Alec Daffin was involved in that last caution, so he's going to drop back to 23rd. And
Andrew Schmier looks like he's 20 laps down and looks like he'll be retired for the night.
Yeah, so a lot of guys struggling tonight. With a lot of the Dash for Cash drivers struggling tonight.
Not their night. And remember, the Dash for Cash driver, to win the $30 grand prize, they have to win the race, and it has to be under green. Yep. So they're going to be crossing their fingers, their toes, and any other extremity they have. That's going to be crossed over because they want to get to that white flag before the caution comes out.
Yeah, I'm sure Strada's going to do everything he can. Hopefully his connection doesn't pull out on him because I think he's got the best. He's pretty much got the best shot out of all these guys. I think his car is in the best shape. So hopefully his internet sticks with him so he can try to at least make some sort of charge to the front of the field.
The other thing is that when you have a group of teammates up here, Finian, they're less likely to make a move that would take them out. If this was a group of all guys that didn't like each other very much, you might sit back in ninth and wait for them to crash and take the win. But not so. The front three all working together, and that's going to make it a lot harder for anybody from behind to get through them. But I think we will see the restart with 10 to go, pending the pace car driver turning those lights off. And Bailey Turner clutching in. And you can see here the banking at Daytona, how steep it is from one corner of your monitor to the other.
Yeah, it is really impressive. And you can see, too, that these cars are still kind of bouncing a bit. But the little bounce that they're going over now at cruising at I say cruising, they're going 80 miles an hour.
80 miles an hour.
Yeah. You got a speeding ticket on a highway, but it gets amplified so much when you're going 200 through the corner, so it really changes depending on the speed you're going through.
All right, I think we will see the 1 to green this time through. Wait for lights to go off, and there they are. It's going to be a 10-lap battle to the end here tonight. It's been a good one. We've had lots of action here this evening. We've had a couple big wrecks take out some high-profile drivers, the Dash for Cash drivers included. But now with 10 to go, all bets are off. And Finian, we got the groups of teammates up front. And I mentioned that they are going to work together at least on the restart. But what lap do you turn off the teammate driver party and you all turn into opponents?
It kind of depends on where you guys are positioned at that point, if you're able to make a maneuver or not. I mean, if you're tucked up right behind each other not side by side with 2 cars on their outside and they can't really move laterally, they'll probably just kind of push each other to the win and try to hope for the best at that point. But if they're both side by side on either lanes, they're definitely going to start battling. So I'd say maybe with a lap or 2 to go, they might start switching the teammate part off and start battling. And again, it depends on how much they like each other at that point.
Let's find out how good teammates they are. I think for me as a teammate in the past, I think you work together until that white flag flies, and as soon as you cross that line and you have 2.5 miles to go, all bets are off, and the bumper gets used, and the door gets used, and the tires get used, and it's race on.
Glad to see that's how you feel like that.
Well, hey, gotta do what you gotta do, kid.
All right, I'll keep that in mind when you're behind me.
Oh.
All right, but now we got the 2488 side-by-side teammates. They're going to lead the field back down to green. We're going to get the green flag just with 10 laps to go in this race. That's only 25 miles in this event.
25 miles to decide the winner here for the Virtual Racing League's first race of the season. Green flag flies, and Bailey Turner leads him back.
And he got a fantastic start. There you see the teammates working together.
Yep.
The 88 timed that to perfection.
Again, dropping below into the lane on the restart. So again, you got to hope that the administration didn't see that, because otherwise you might see a penalty fly their way. But 10 to go now. And Gabriel Perry right on the rear bumper of that 88. It looks like Josiah Vincent got a little bit left behind there.
Yeah, he's going to try to draft back up to these guys with the 62 behind him. Butler currently left out to dry.
Down the back straightaway now, and looks like we're getting pretty sorted out. Look at Ben Baffert in the back, and also that's the 34 of Corey Budno that dropped in front of Evan Black, and that's also the 52 of William Edwards. But Baffert gets hung out to dry on the outside, but he's got Mark Emerson behind him. The 9 of Ryan Hesgard and Alec Martinez are teamed up on that outside, trying to get a line going forward.
Yeah, a lot of damaged cars as well in this pack as they're all trying to get each other sorted out, because they're all going at different speeds back here.
And you got to be careful when you're pushing damaged race cars, because that damage can hook and send cars around even innocently. So you got to keep an eye on that. Meanwhile, up front, it's single file. And this is when the chess match, everyone's brains start grinding away. The gears start turning. You got to start thinking about how you're going to position yourself in order to win this race here tonight.
Yeah, and it looks like the entire top 10 has broken away from the rest of the pack. And these are pretty much the only able-bodied cars left in this race. And there you see some guys already starting to pull out of lane, led by the 71 of Justin Egan on the outside.
Elliott Butler lined up, and there's AJ Stravato right behind him, so he wants to go forward. Jordan Ashland there as well, as Bailey Turner, Hutton, and Perry continue to lead. Oh, Egan drops back in for a second, gets a draft off the 11, and swings back around the outside, but this time Butler doesn't follow.
Yeah, looks like Butler's actually going to take this opportunity to pass him at this point, and he's going to have to cycle out back behind these guys.
And how frustrating is that for Egan? You just about had a run on the 62 of Anthony Burrows, but get hung out to dry by a guy you thought was going to help you, and now AJ Stravato is going to take an opportunity to get a pass done here. But off of turn 2, they rocket down the back straightaway with 8 laps to go.
I think that's Butler thinking that they still have some time to work with, and they do. I'd honestly think that you're going to have to try to pull out with about 5 laps to go. And actually, there goes Butler. He just dives in front of the 71, and he's going to try to lead the outside charge.
Oh, side draft off the quarter panel of the 11. He's going to get a pretty good run, but Stravato's going to shove the 11 back around, almost sideways off turn 4.
And they see the 4 thinking about making maneuver, and there goes the 33 to the outside.
Oh,
no, he dives back in.
Faked him. Now, who else in front? Look at Josiah Vincent in the 4. Looks like he's turned his teammate ability off here. He's jumping to the outside, taking a look, maybe showing the 62 that he wants someone to go with him.
Well, here comes the 36, and I believe it's the 33 of Stravato behind him.
Yep.
And they're going to start marching towards the front. They kind of need one more car to work with them. It's just a matter of who, and there goes the 4. He looks to the outside. Does he commit this time? No, he does not.
And behind them, we got a lot of drivers. Oh, wow, look at the 26 jumping up in front of the 34 and 52. These guys are starting to make pace, and now that the 26 pulled up, kind of killed the momentum, and they got disorganized. They got to figure it out quick here, Finian, if they want to have a shot.
Yeah, right now, again, it's still down to these 10 cars up towards the front of the field. You've seen them all diving all over the place. How about the 11 of Trejo? He's going to jump to the outside with Butler. But where's the 33 Stravato? Has he lost connection? Yes, he has.
At least for now he has. Oh,
there he is back again.
Wow.
He's popped up. That was probably the worst time that he could lose connection. So this outside lane has lost their momentum. There goes Butler back to the inside.
Butler's been climbing spots by taking guys to the outside and then dropping out, hanging them out to dry and moving forward. It's a cutthroat technique, but it's working. He's going to shove the 62 forward, and they're going to try to close in on the 4 of Josiah Vincent.
Yeah, it looks like maybe Butler, maybe the 62, if they can get a good enough run, they're going to jump to the outside. Does anyone else in front of them do so?
I like what Butler's doing. It's certainly not getting him any friends, but he's just shoving people to the outside, pretending like he's going to go, and then drops to the inside, fakes him out, and takes the spot. It's a slow-going process, but it's working now with 5 laps to go here at Daytona.
Yeah, who's going to make the first move? And you got to imagine someone's going to do it at this point. These guys have nothing pretty much to lose other than some points, but I'm sure every single one of them wants to win.
When you're looking at a season-long battle here, every point matters, so they're going to be maybe points racing here a little bit more than they usually would, but look at the 13 of Eli Hinton getting out of the way.
And whoa, everyone jumps up to the outside lane. And who actually sticks there? Looks like the 4 and the 62 almost get into each other. Here comes Butler on the inside of the 62, being cutthroat as possible. He's going to jump up into the top 5.
Yep, and again, Butler using that technique, and it's worked really well for him. But Perry looked to the outside of the back straightaway, and he wants to go, but he's just waiting to get around the teammate.
Wow, and the 4 looks like he was going to jump the outside. No, he does not. Butler tried to go with him, almost got hooked by the 62. These guys are still together. It's only 4 laps to go.
Weaving back and forth is Josiah Vincent, trying to fake out and maybe get someone to go with them. He's got Butler, but if you look back in your mirror, you've seen what Butler's been doing. You're not going to want to go with them. But look who's lining up alongside. That's the 71 of Egan pushing the 62. Got to keep an eye on that duo.
And AJ Stravato was there. He has flashed out yet again behind him. You see him flashing in screen.
Oh, slow traffic. They're going to get around.
Yeah, and again, now does the 36 try to jump to the outside to help these guys on the outside and work together, maybe towards the front?
Here comes the 4. Does the 10 go with them?
This is a matter of where you're going to choose to go. You got to pick your friends. You got to pick wisely at this point.
Out of turn 4 now, coming to 3 to go. Look at the 4 jumping to the outside. Can Perry beat him there? No, he's going to stick in line for now. I think this is go time here, Finian.
Yeah, it definitely
there
is.
He goes,
and there goes Perry, and there goes the 4 of Vincent to the inside.
He faked him out, and it's going to put the 4 back in 3rd place, but now the 10's got help from the 36, the 62, the 71, and the 33.
Oh, does the 4 now try to jump in front of Perry? Is that what he's got up his sleeve?
He's not clear, Finian.
He's not clear, and it looks like it's going to be Perry charging to the outside. Here comes Butler behind him and the 62.
A huge run from the 10, and the 36 are along the outside. They're up alongside Eric Hutton, and does the 24 go up to block? He tries, but Perry comes to the outside now looking for the lead.
And these guys are side by side for the win here, coming to 2 laps to go.
And remember, we have to finish green if Stravato is going to get that $30.
And I don't think he's got it at this point. He's a little bit too far back, and his interconnection is not holding up with him.
2 laps to go, and Turner clears Perry again. There's some more lap traffic up in front, and it looks like the outside line kind of died away here, Finney, and that's going to put the 10 at risk of losing the lead.
Yeah, does anyone decide to jump back up there to help them? It's just kind of a matter of who's willing to do so.
And when does the 88 stop pushing the 24 and try to win the race for himself?
It's as soon as he gets cleared. If he's stuck on that inside, he's got really nothing else to do but help his teammate, the 24, to the win. There's not much he can really do with it, but if he does have a lane clear, he might jump up to try to pass him.
10's going to lose a little bit of momentum here, Finney, and they're going to have to build that back up. And the 71 and 62 are going to have a head of steam. Are they going to go to the outside with it or sit on the inside lane? Coming to the white flag, Bailey Turner leads Eric Hutton in second. Do they get back to the stripe the same way they are now? Let's find out. 1 lap to go at Daytona.
And now Gabriel Perry got left out to dry completely now. So now 36 of Butler's behind the 4. Do they got something up their sleeve at this point?
They're going to have to do it now here, Finian. The 4's got to run. He's going to go to the outside of the 88. Looks like he tried. And he's going to push the 88 now off of turn 2.
Yeah, he's going to try. Looks like the 88's going to try to block him. Here we go. Here comes the bobbing. Here comes the weaving as they go down the back straight. They're going to be snaking.
Here comes the 4 to the outside.
He jumps to the outside. Looks like Butler's going to go to the inside. Wasn't able to do it. Here comes Perry. They're going to be 3 wide back there for third.
Going to have to leave space, but Perry's going to have a run. But I think that's all she wrote for the lead here, Finian, unless the 88 can do something. Looks like the 24 is going to ride up the track. They're spinning behind him into the wall. Coming back to the stripe. They're spinning, crashing behind him. Bailey Turner is going to win at Daytona as they crash. The 88 spins across the line. And wow, what a finish.
That was entertaining to say the least. How about Bailey Turner in the 24 coming to take the win, and his teammate Eric Hutton in the 88 is going to push him there to the victory. Fantastic job.
Those teammates, you see Hutton sliding across the line here. Whew. Wow, they worked together flawlessly. And Turner, from 27th to 1st tonight, absolutely well done for that Ollie's Camaro.
Yeah, fantastic job. Did everything right, and look at that, not a scratch on that car.
I'm sure there's scratches on the bumper.
Oh, definitely, but nothing visual to us.
And Butler comes home 4th. Butler was certainly not making a whole lot of friends out there towards the end. But
no, but it got him a 4th place finish.
Hey,
so
top 5. And the burnouts will begin for that number 24 car. And he celebrates. A well-earned victory here at Daytona and a wild finish. 10 laps to the end, and they completed it under green, but unfortunately, the Dash for Cash will not get paid out, as the winner was not a Dash for Cash driver. So Stravato, it looks like he finished 18th, was caught up in that wreck coming to the checkers. And while Turner's finishing up his burnouts here, let's go back and take a look at the last half a lap or so from a couple different angles, because there was a lot going on there. Let's take a look first at what happened to the 71 of Egan, because there's a big wreck back here. Egan looked to the outside, and it looks like they were just kind of wadded up already.
Yeah, looks like the 62 might have gotten to the 4, and there goes the 27 of Ashland. And he got a spin. He was having a great run at the moment, but he ended up finishing in 14th.
Yeah, not a great finish for those guys. And we'll take another look at what happened up front between Hutton, Perry, and Turner. And we'll look from above. See the field wrecking behind him. It looks like Perry tried the outside, didn't have any run to go with, though, and looks like he just went below the line, got into the 88. And the 88 almost had it saved, and then packed it up against the wall and gets clobbered there by the 62.
Yeah, I mean, you don't need to bring these cars back anyway. And wow, big wreck behind.
Alec Martinez piling in there.
And there's a junkyard formed in turn 1.
But Bailey Turner, again, was victorious here at Daytona. And what a race it was. We'll be right back in just a moment with a couple interviews. Stay with us. Welcome back here to Sim TV, here with race winner Bailey Turner, and that was quite the finish there. You worked with your teammates and managed to hold off hard-charging Elliott Butler and Gabriel Perry. Tell us about those last couple laps.
Yeah, we had a plan going into the race. Hutton Motorsports and Vincent Motorsports. We were all teammates last year, and we just played it safe the entire race. We didn't know how the racing was going to be because there's a lot of new guys in the league. So we decided to play it safe back there, and then finally, with about 50 to go, we decided it was go time, and there was actually that wreck that didn't cause a caution that set us behind, and basically we had to play catch up from that point. And then right when we came to pit road, pretty much everything went haywire. Everybody wrecked, and luckily there was enough of us together, and we got that caution. And basically we got up front, and we just said, no matter what, we're sticking together. So we all stayed together in the outside line. Before that last restart, got all three of us into the front three, me, Eric, and Josiah. And basically when we went on that restart, we had a plan. Unfortunately, the 10 car broke that up, and we were kind of just trying to see if we could all stick together. And me and Eric said that no matter what, I mean, we just want the points, and we're going to stay in line right here and just do what we need to do to kind of make it to the end. And luckily I have a good teammate like that, and he stuck with me.
Awesome. That was one of the things we were questioning is when does your teammate not become your teammate? But you guys sounded like you made a pact and just said the way it finishes is the way it finishes, huh?
Yeah, with the way the points are this year, it's we know that we need to collect all the points we can. I mean, other than us not being there at the halfway point, we were fine giving up that, knowing that we could be there at the end. And we did just that, and Eric and I both had a good points day. That's what matters.
All right, well, thanks for talking to us, Bailey, and congratulations on the first victory of the season. Hopefully there's many more to come.
Thank you.
All right, and next in line is going to be Eric Hutton, driver number 88. And Eric Hutton, how are you doing, bud? That was an awesome finish. You came home just one spot short, working with your teammate there. Tell us about those last couple laps.
Yeah, it was really all about teamwork there at the end. We stuck together, stuck in the end. Or stuck at the back of the field in the beginning. Usually it never seems to work out, but it happened to this time. We working with Bailey Turner and Jeremiah and Josiah, Vincent, and Reggie. We made our way up towards the end, and really I think it was only me and Bailey and Josiah at the very end, and I just kept on his bumper and wanted to get him to win, and came home 1-2.
And I was talking to your teammate about the decision to stay together, and maybe is there anything when you run a restrictor plate race and you decide to run with a teammate like this, is there a conscious decision towards the end of the race that says I'm not gonna go for the win on the last lap, I'm just gonna push my teammate there, or is it something that you just kind of do on the fly?
Well, we decided probably with 20 to go that I said I was just gonna push him, being the first race, and you know, if this was the chase race or something, then I would have tried to make a move, but there's no risk in, you know, trying to pull out and him blocking and both of us wrecking on the first race this season. Just want to get him the points.
All right. Well, thanks for talking to us, Eric, and good luck in the rest of the season. Off to a great start in second.
Hey, thanks, guys.
That'll be Gabriel Perry, driver the number 10, and there he is, Gabriel Perry, driver the number 10 car, came home in third place amongst the teammates all battling for spots. Tell us about your plan the last couple laps without any help. Gabriel Perry, got a copy? Looks like we'll try that again at another point. Let's grab Elliott Butler here, the driver of the number 36. Elliott Butler, you got a copy?
Yes, sir.
All right, well, we saw you making some moves out there and kind of chopping up the field a little bit, and it was awesome to watch, but you came home P4. Tell us about your strategy the last couple laps, because you were certainly making a lot of passes out there.
I really wanted to get the top line to work, but I couldn't seem to get anybody to go with me. All race, I was able to make some progress if I was the pusher, but I couldn't seem to get anybody to push me very well, especially once my teammates had some problems. But at that point, it just became take every opportunity you can get and get as many positions as you can get, and maybe you'll be able to make a move at the end if somebody really fights hard for that win. It turned out pretty good, though, so I'm pretty happy with the finish, even though I think I could have done a little bit better there.
Once your teammates get taken out of a race like this, who do you work with? Do you choose drivers by manufacturer? Do you look around at who's been quick all night? What's your choosing process there, or is it just every man for himself when it comes down to the checkers?
For the most part, I'm looking for whoever's been the cleanest drivers, the guys that are able to work with in a tandem with somebody else pretty consistently and be quick. There are some guys up there that were kind of sloppy, and other guys that were real smooth. And if you're smoother, you could definitely be faster because it's pretty tricky over those bumps here. But once we got down to about 2 to go, it became just get all you can get, and don't really have any teammates at that point.
All right. Well, thanks for talking to us, and a solid top 5 finish for you to start the season. We'll see you next week.
Appreciate it.
All right, and we'll try. Hey, Gabriel Perry, got a copy this time?
Yeah, I got you this time.
Awesome. All right. Well, what a race tonight. You kept the car up front most of the night and had a shot at it at the end, but didn't have a whole lot of teammates to help you out. So walk us through those last couple laps.
Yeah, I was actually trying to figure out if I didn't really know they were teammates, but I think the top 3 there, the 4, 88, and 24 were all teammates. Am I right? I think they were, right? Yeah, and I was trying to see if the 4 would go with me, but like I said, I'm sure they were teammates, so he wasn't going to go with me, and eventually I did, and he did leave me up there. But we did fight back with the 36 pushing us. It was a good race. I wish that last caution hadn't come out. Had a great pit stop, and it was just 3 of us up there for a while, and then a pack in the back wrecked and brought the caution out. But overall, it was a good race.
All right, well, thanks for talking to us, and a nice solid 3rd place finish to start the season. We'll see you next week.
Yeah, thanks. Can I say one thing?
Absolutely, go for it.
All right, cool. I thank Brantley Roden, Harpoon Design, and Nick Cohan at Dizzy Motorsports. Finished top 3 today, so thank you.
All right, have a good night, Gabriel. See you later.
See ya.
All right, and one more thing we got to take care of here before the night is over, and that is a penalty for the 24, Bailey Turner. He'll get to keep the victory, but it was a penalty for asking for a black flag clear after speeding down pit lane, and I believe that might have been in reference to avoiding the wreck when he came down pit lane to avoid that. He didn't. I believe that was him that didn't slow down to pace or to pit road speed. I don't know if that was the exact moment. But he got a 5 points penalty and will not receive the 3 bonus points for the chase and because of that. So, of course, Turner will get to keep the checkered flag and the trophy, but a 5 points penalty is going to drop him down the order in the point standings that will be posted in the video description post-race here. So a little bit of drama at the end there, but Turner will get that checkered flag, and that's all I think he cares about right now.
Yeah, I can imagine even with that, he still won the race. He's still going to have a lot of points to work with. And if he keeps up this pace throughout the season, I don't think he should have much of a problem going in.
Absolutely not. Well, that's over. VRL's first race of the new season at Daytona. It was a wild one at the end, a 10-lap race to the end. Teammates working together managed to conquer the 2.5-mile banked oval of Daytona. Thanks for sticking with us tonight. It was certainly a fantastic race, and we'll see you next week on Saturday night, 10 o'clock Eastern Time, here on Sim TV. We'll see you next week.